Tonight's college football game on ESPNU is presented in high definition. It's a beautiful evening here in Houston. And tonight, the leader of the SWAC's West Division, Grambling State University, pays a visit to Texas Southern University. Grambling is looking to keep its perfect conference record intact here under the lights on ESPNU Thursday night college football primetime. It's Grambling and Texas Southern next. We're in Houston, Texas for the Southwestern Athletic Conference matchup as the Tigers of Grambling State University travel in to take on the Tigers of Texas Southern University. Of course, we're entering the last week of the regular season. Let's take a look at the standings, especially in the Western Division of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. Grambling on top with a perfect 5-0 conference mark, followed by Prairie View. Southern is 5-1, Texas Southern, and Arkansas Pine Bluff. Hello again, everyone. I'm Charlie Neal. I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome you to Thursday night primetime college football. Normally, my partner, Jay Walker, the former Howard University and NFL quarterback, is up here in the booth with me. But tonight, I'll be calling the game alone from up here in the press box. Jay decided to fly the coop, and he decided he was going to go down on the sideline where he feels a little more comfortable. So let's go down to Jay and find out what it's like down there. Jay?
Well, Charlie, to be honest, I'm living a former football player's dream. Not only do I get to come down here and feel the action, but I get an opportunity to break down strategy by the coaches, to critique the quarterback form, see if the running backs are protecting the football with one hand, two hand, call the game, feel the excitement, feel the action, feel the bands, mix it all up, special guests, everybody's coming. And, oh, yeah, at the end of the day, I get to analyze a great football game. Because at the end of the day, this is ESPNU, and that's what we do. Back to you, Charlie.
All right. Looks like you're going to have a lot of fun down there. When you talk about this Grambling State University team, here's a team that holds its own fate in its own hands. But one thing they've done all season long was play musical chairs at quarterback. But that won't be the case tonight as Greg Dillon gets the start.
And why not go with sophomore Greg Dillon? Number one, who you see behind me. He's got the hottest hand. And all season long, Coach Broadway has played the hottest hand at quarterback. He's accounted for 14 touchdowns on the season. He's a 57% passer. And the sophomore's leadership skills have improved week by week.
Well, Texas Southern University has ridden on the arm of former Oklahoma State quarterback Bobby Reed all season long, but he will not play in the game tonight. The reason is he's out with a knee injury. So in his place, Cornelius Harmon gets the nod.
Well, Charlie, in the game of football, one player's injury can be another player's opportunity. And what a fantastic opportunity for Texas Southern senior quarterback Cornelius Harmon to end his playing days here on the Houston campus. The senior 6'4", 200-pound quarterback has a rifle of an arm. He's a little careless with the football at times. If they're going to have any chance at success today, Cornelius Harmon has to protect the football and throw touchdowns.
It's the 56th time that these two teams have met. Grambling has won 37 of those games. It's a SWAC West matchup. And can Texas Southern play the part of the spoiler? We'll find out when we come back with the opening kickoff from Houston in a moment.
The Southwestern honoring the heritage.
Welcome back to Del Mar Stadium in Houston, Texas for the Southwestern Athletic Conference matchup. Grambling won the toss, deferred. They will be kicking off. They're wearing their white jerseys, gold pants. Texas Southern with the dark jerseys. And Leo will kick it off. It'll come down to DeMarcus Washington at the 20. DeMarcus Washington back up across the 30, 35, still on his feet and out of bounds at about the 38, 39-yard line. So that's where they'll go to work. First down and 10. That is the Tigers of Texas Southern. They get the ball first tonight. As we mentioned in our opener, Bobby Reed will not be playing, the former Oklahoma State quarterback, but there are the numbers on Cornelius Harmon. 6 touchdowns. He's also thrown 6 interceptions this year. He is a senior out of Port Arthur, Texas, with the Memorial High there. Has played in 7 games this year. From their own 38-yard line, Texas Southern goes to work. First down and 10. From the shotgun. He wants to go to the air right away. Has it complete to Osborne, but he is hit immediately. In fact, that's going to be incomplete. Osborne, the receiver. As we look at our backs and receivers for the Texas Southern Tigers, Junior Osborne, he's small in stature. They list him at 5'8", but a big play man who leads the nation in all-purpose yards. As far as the people up front, Matt Minus and Aaron DeLong are the only seniors on the offensive line. It is 2nd down and 10. Over the middle, this one a little bit too big as this goes incomplete. Keith Hall covering. Osborne coming out of the backfield. Let's look at Grambling State's defense. Matthews, Young, and Anthony have 35 tackles for losses between them. Keith Hall at the linebacker spot leads the team in tackles. In the secondary, Desmond Leonard has 5 interceptions. It is 3rd down and 10. Trying not to go 3 and out. Cornelius Harmon. 3rd down. This one complete to Osborne. Not enough for a first down. Only a gain of 2, and they'll have to punt it away.
You know, you got to go downfield. Anytime you're taking on a defense in 3rd and long situation, you can't settle for throwing a ball 2 yards down the field. That's one of those mistakes that Harmon has to settle down, let the play develop, and at least give your receivers an opportunity to get downfield to get first down yardage before you settle for the 2-yard completion.
Steven Solomon on to punt it away for Texas Southern. A long punt all the way down the field, and now a chance for a return, a good return up the field for Grambling State University, and bringing it back was Kier Thompson, the sophomore from Sacramento, California. So Grambling State gets the ball for the first time tonight at their own 22-yard line. And they're going to be led by Greg Dillon. Remember, they talked about them playing musical chairs at quarterback. He's a sophomore.
In the back, get the receiving game. Pass this to the goal. First down.
We had a penalty. Anthony Johnson, our referee, and he was explaining it was an illegal block in the back. But looking at Greg Dillon once again, 13 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He's also rushed for 443 yards.
You know, we talked in the open about Greg Dillon being benched at a certain portion during the season. And for this offense, give credit to Coach Broadway. This is a young offensive line, a young team on offense. They couldn't protect the pocket passer. The backup, J.P. Tillman, is a pocket passer. Dillon's got more mobility, thus being the better fit for this offense at this time.
And so Greg Dillon gets the nod. He's been sacked 35 times this year, or the team is. That is offensively, not him necessarily by himself, as they keep the ball on the ground, and they go with Cornelius Walker, the sophomore out of Atlanta, Georgia, went to Mays High. Let's look at the backs and receivers for the Tigers of Grambling State. Cornelius Walker, as we just mentioned, who just carried the ball. He leads the team in rushing, averaging almost 5 yards per carry. Up front, Reve Smith is the man centering the ball. He moved from the guard spot to that center position this season. Now they're working out of an I formation. Walker again with the carry. Walker to the outside. Walker has a first down and finally run out of bounds on the near sideline at the 20-yard line. So they move the chains and they move it forward. Don't forget my partner Jay Walker down on the sideline where the action is fast and furious. Jay,
you know, talk about taking a look at something from the sideline. Look at the body on the body, allowing the running back the opportunity to get inside, then bounce it to the outside. A missed tackle made there by the safety for Texas Southern. That's Glasper. He's got to come up and make that tackle in the backfield. Grambling early on this contest trying to run football.
And there's Walker again, and of course Coach Rod Broadway says he would like to keep the ball on the ground and establish the running game. And let's see if Texas Southern's defense can stop it. Matthew Valmore is one of the top sack men in the Southwestern Athletic Conference, but if they don't pass it, he won't get a lot of sacks tonight. As far as linebackers, DeJuan Fulgham leads the team in tackles, and in the secondary for the Tigers of Texas Southern, DeMarcus Washington has 5 interceptions to his credit so far this season. Walker again, he's carried on every down, and he's up across the 30 to about the 31-yard line, and they'll move the chains once again with a new set of downs. And it's Mr. Walker, Cornelius Walker, who's done all the work for them so far tonight.
Spotted at the 31, first and 10, Grambling.
He's averaging 7 yards per carry so far in this game. 28 yards on 4 carries. He came in averaging 4.7 yards per carry. From the shotgun, first pass of the night. And this one is complete on the near sideline. And it's Kenneth Baptiste who came up with the reception. Let's look at Jay's game plan.
Well, I think if you're Grambling on offense, you got to keep it basic. Do what you're doing. You're going against a bad defense. Run, pass, and score. Score early. On defense, you must defend the pass. Texas Southern is very one-dimensional. They like to throw. Texas Southern, offensively, you're going against a team that's better across the board. Try some trick plays. In defense, get back to basics. Rush, tackle, and cover. Basic defense. Do the things you need to win a football game. And they're not doing it right here. Poor tackle on the outside. Poor rush. Texas Southern's got to figure out a way to get back to basics on defense.
And that was Walker on that last carry, run out of bounds on the far sideline, but he's very close to picking up another first down. In fact, they do. So they're moving the chains all the way down the field. This drive started all the way back at the 2-yard line. And now they're up across the 40 to the 42. First down and 10. Walker again, and he's upended, but not before he got up to about the 45-yard line. What was that? That was Warren on the carry that time, rather than Walker. We've seen Warren for the first time as you look at Rod Broadway in his second year as the head coach of the Tigers of Grambling State University. Took them to the championship game a year ago in Birmingham, where they lost to Jackson State. It is second down and 6. Second pass for Dillon. This one almost intercepted. Almost coming up with the INT was Curtis Thomas there, number 9. It was intended for Warren, but he couldn't hold on, and Kurt Thomas almost had him a gift. Johnny Cole on the other side of the field played his collegiate ball at Texas Southern. His first season here as the head coach after a successful stint at Lane College.
One thing that Johnny Cole was known for, notorious for, was the cold-blooded offense. He really likes to throw the football around.
He certainly does. And here we get a completion and another first down for the Tigers of Grambling State University, as this pass is complete to Kier Thompson, sophomore out of Sacramento, California, his 19th catch of the year, but we have a penalty flag down. So the offsides penalty will be declined. First down is gained by the Tigers of Grambling State University. And this drive, as I said, moved all the way from their 2-yard line, and they're all the way out to the Texas Southern 45. And here's Walker again going around the right side. Great vision by Mr. Walker as he turns the corner and finally brought down by Zach Logan on the far side.
Wow, Charlie, one thing down here on field level, the holes that the offensive line of Grambling are putting in there are huge. I mean, look at this. Nobody gets close to them. Everybody in a red jersey is getting knocked back 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage. The Grambling offensive line is getting off the ball, having easy running lanes before the Texas Southern defender is able to try and make a tackle. They are really dominating the line of scrimmage.
Here's a little end around, a little trick play for the Grambling Tigers. They run it with their wide receiver, and that is Van Phillips. Van Phillips, a freshman out of Irondale, Alabama, went to Shades High there. Shades Vocational. Jay?
You know, one thing I'm also noticing down there, Charlie, it's extremely windy down here. Grambling's doing a great job. You see how quick this paper's leaving the picture? The wind is swirling around, going in circles. Grambling with the short passing game, doing a good job of moving the ball down the field. But the wind will be a factor in this game here. Look for both teams to try to utilize the short passing attack and the ground attacks.
Baptiste was the man in motion. They keep the ball on the ground, and they move it down inside the 20. Remember, this drive has started way back in their 2-yard line. That is the 12th play of this drive. They're in the red zone.
I mean, I think, you know, if you want to wonder why a team is on top of the conference, another one's on the bottom, it's because they get physical. And right now, Grambling's coming on the road in another team's home field, and they're bringing the sock to them. Texas Southern is absorbing the blow, and Grambling's really doing a good job of getting off the bus, ready to play football.
No question about it. L.C. Cole and his defense being pushed around, and he's decided to call a timeout and try to settle this runaway train down. We'll be back to Del Mar Stadium in Houston in just a moment. A very impressive drive by the Tigers of Grambling State University. This is the 13th play of the drive. They've used up a lot of clock. Also, almost over 4 minutes as they keep it again on the ground. But the defense stiffens this time as we look at the impact players for the night's game, Jay.
I think if you're looking at guys that have to step up, Cornelius Walker already. You get a drive this long, you need the running game to step up. Cornelius Walker, running back for Grambling. Defensively, Desmond Leonard, he's got 5 interceptions on the year. He's got to get it done. The Texas Southern defense has to show up, and their go-to wide receiver, William Osborne, has got to make some great plays against one of the best defenses in the conference.
Here's a pass inside, and it goes incomplete, intended for Kier Thompson. But the defense of Texas Southern was right there to make sure it didn't go far as Matthew Valmore, number 90, was there to break it up.
And I've already seen the first defensive adjustment being made in this football game. Defensive coordinator L.C. Cole for Texas Southern has crowded the line of scrimmage, realizing that the wind is swirling. He's not going to continue to allow Grambling to do these dink and dunk passes 3 yards or less. He's got his defensive backs close to the line of scrimmage, right up on the action, forcing Grambling to try and throw vertically down the field.
Dillon, SWAC's #1 pass in passing efficiency and 8th in total offense, and he's back to pass it on 3rd down. Has it complete on the near side and is caught and then fumbled out of bounds on the near side by Kenneth Baptiste.
I like this. Did you see my hands?
Curtis Thomas was the man who made the stop defensively.
Man, take a look at this one coming right at me. I'm seeing the run. I'm seeing the hit. And you'll see the ball here. This was clearly a fumble when the ball's coming. Look, who's that great athlete made that catch? That was Jay Walker. I made the one-hand grab. You missed it. It was a nice one-hand grab. It was coming this way. I had it. I like being down here, Charlie. You think I got some eligibility left where I can lace it up a little bit and throw a couple bombs?
That's the first pass you ever caught.
Yeah, that's true. I like to throw it. I definitely like to throw it. I mean, I'm here right now, and they're going to bring the chains over, and I'll be able to tell you right away whether or not he got it, Charlie.
20-inch rims to
They are measuring for the first down.
Get rims 5. That's get rims, the number 5.
They got it.
6, 7, 4, 6.
With plenty to spare. So it's 1st and goal inside the 10-yard line. As far as red zone offense for the Tigers this year, believe it or not, Jay, they're next to last in the conference in red zone offense, 9th. Only 66% in red zone offense. So that means they've had a lot of long touchdown passes, right?
You know, that and the fact that this is a very defensive team. You know, although Graham is having a great start, they hang their hat on their defense. They're not an offensive juggernaut.
The pitch to Walker going to the right side. Walker, oh, he is hit. What a hit put on Mr. Walker by number 51 there. That's William Parker. William Parker comes up with the big hit. The freshman out of Harmony High in Cincinnati, Ohio. He's just a true freshman.
Oh, what a great hit there. You take a look at him adjusting the jersey there, and that's how you play good football, playing that linebacker position. You got to like to hit people if you want to play linebacker.
It is 2nd down and goal from the 10. A loss of 1 on that last play. First negative yards for Grambling in this drive. Here's Dillon rolling right, decides he's going to keep it, and he's not going to get far as he's upended on the far sideline.
Antonio St. Rose with the stop for Texas.
By Antonio St. Rose, number 16 there.
Yeah, St. Rose did a good job of actually spying the quarterback in that outside linebacker position. If you're not responsible for anybody in coverage, nobody comes into your zone, you find where the quarterback is, and when he tries to leave the pocket, you step up and make the tackle right away.
3rd down and goal.
That name doesn't sound like a football linebacker, does it? Antonio St. Rose.
Chris McIntosh, the up back in the eye. Dillon wants to go to the air. Looking in the end zone, and it's intercepted. Picked off in the end zone. It'll be a touchback. So the drive is stopped as is Daryl Glasper, who comes up with the INT. So what a drive of 18-play drive is stopped with an interception in the end zone, Jay.
Yeah, just a poorly thrown ball. Glasper was there. He was beat. He fell for the double move, but because of the inaccuracy of the throw by Dillon, throwing off that back leg, Glasper was able to cut underneath it. You saw that he had a wide open wide receiver in Van Phillips, but poor throw by Greg Dillon. Texas Southern takes advantage.
So they drive from their own 2 all the way down inside the 10 to about the 7. And then they come away empty-handed. Boy, that's got to be a moral victory right there for the Texas Southern defense, because they were getting pushed all the way down the field, and all of a sudden they come back with a big INT, and Glasper kind of saved the day because he had a man open. Phillips was open in the end zone.
Yeah, you know, you're going to see Phillips right here. He's going to give him a double move and end up in the back part of the end zone. All you have to do is get the ball to him. You see the pump fake? That drew him in. He's wide open. Nobody back there. But poor throw by Dillon. He should have put some air on that ball and thrown over the defense.
It is second down. Here's Harmon. He's running, and he is stopped shy of the first down marker. Coming up to make the stop defensively is Charles Gamble, number 55, defensively for the Tigers of Grambling.
Good job there by the quarterback, Harmon. When you get pressure from the outside, step up, and if nobody's there, then you take off running. So often we tell these young quarterbacks, there's nobody responsible for the quarterback in the running game. Good job by Harmon of making his mind up quickly, making a decision, and picking up first down yardage.
First down and 10 for the Tigers of Grambling, right at the 30-yard line. Got to the 30-yard marker. That's where he needed to go. And now Harmon's going back to pass on first down, has it complete out of the backfield. And coming up is Marcus Wright, the running back, and he picks up first down yards. Oh, that was 22 on the reception. Correction, rather than that was Caparelli on the reception.
If Texas Southern doesn't do anything, they throw the football. They average 262 yards passing a game. And when I talked to Coach Cole before the game, he said, we're going to let it go 50 times tonight, Sky. You're not going anywhere.
And Caparelli gets the handoff this time, but can't get going as Otis Young, number 94, the senior out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, came up to make the stop. He's a transfer from New Hampshire. Comes in at 300 pounds, 6 feet tall.
Look at that. That's what you want from the guys. Interior line play. You want them to beat their man one-on-one and make a tackle in the backfield. Good play.
Play action now. Harmon throws it. And this one is knocked away downfield. Number 16, T.J. McCord, was there defending on the play. Pass intended for junior Osborne, number 2. Considered maybe the best player on this Texas Southern team. He's only 5'8". That's what they list him as. I stood next to him yesterday. He's probably like 5'6".
Yeah.
And they list him as 162 pounds. He's lucky if he weighs 150.
Nothing wrong with wide receivers that are 5'6" that can play football now, Charlie.
That's right.
My guy was Gary the Flea Harrell, 5'6", toughest guy on the football team every time we played.
3rd and 12. Pressure on the quarterback, and this goes incomplete.
One of the problems I'm noticing early, Charlie, is the fact that Grambling, you know, they have the least amount of sacks in the SWAC conference. They don't really bring a lot of pressure to quarterbacks. They don't get sacked, but they're finding a way to get behind the Texas Southern offensive line. So looks like Texas Southern is really going to have a difficult time pass protecting and protecting Harmon.
You look at the deep man. That's Keir Thompson back to return this punt of Solomon. Good high hang time. Boy, they can really punt the ball. And this one, did he touch it?
He touched it.
If it is, it's a touchdown. It is. Touchdown in the end zone for Texas Southern.
Home field advantage.
And coming up with it is Zach Logan. Number 3, Zachary Logan.
That ball hung in the wind. It was a tremendous punt. And when you've got such windy conditions, all you have to do is get the punt airborne. That ball carried, touched the Grambling State return man for the touchdown. You see the ball drifting, hit his hands right there. And good job by Logan of getting on the spot for the touchdown. It could be an early lead for Texas Southern.
He recovered the muff.
Number 4,
So the point after for Texas Southern, Robert Hurst is a freshman. He's on to attempt the point after to make it a 7-0 lead. And Texas Southern drawing first blood here. What a surprise. And now flags come out. Probably had some movement.
snap. False start. For the offense, number 72. 5-yard penalty. Retry.
That's Charles Smith, redshirt sophomore from Flowers High in Largo, Maryland. 6'5", 325-pounder.
Flowers High.
Yeah.
Mike Mayo, head coach. They got a good job. They're a little football powerhouse brewing in Maryland. But with all the wind out here on the field, Charlie, you could probably kick a 60-yard field goal. The wind is that strong.
First quarter. Here it is. The kick is up. It is good. And Texas Southern is up on Grambling 7-0. They recovered a muff in the end zone. It was Logan who came up with it, number 3 there. And Texas Southern draws first blood.
Attention collect.
As you look at the heroes so far for Texas Southern, in fact, there have been 2 heroes. Glasper, who had the interception, and then that young man, Logan, who was alertly downfield on special teams to fall on the muff of that young man. And that's Keir Thompson, who just, the wind got the ball away from him, and he couldn't get under it after that great punt by Stephen Solomon.
And this is going to be a very interesting kickoff. You know, keep in mind now they're kicking in the wind as well, so they were assessed a penalty. But when they kick off, I mean, it's not going to be an easy task to field this for kickoff return.
Well, they're moving the ball the other way. Again, apparently the penalty was against Grambling after the touchdown.
If they kick it from there,
kicking it from the 45.
If they kick it from the 45, I think he makes the field goal, Charlie. That wind is howling. I think he makes the field goal. But you know, one thing I've noticed, Charlie, and you always say this a lot, at this point of the year, if you're a freshman, you're no longer a freshman.
Not a freshman anymore. You're a sophomore.
You're a sophomore. Maybe this Texas Southern team has grown up right in front of us, and late this in the season, this is the experienced team, and they're not afraid of Grambling.
Well, they have nothing to lose and everything to gain, while Grambling has it all on the line because they can ill afford to take a loss, especially going into the Bayou Classic against Southern University. Here's the kick, and Leonard will not get it. It goes out of the end zone. Let's look back at the interception that stopped Grambling after they went down to the field 91 yards in 18 plays.
We talk about teams growing. What do you do when Daryl Glasper makes the interception? Good teams make you pay. You see the fumble punt return right here? They get the ball in the end zone. That's what you've got to do. Play good special teams, play defense. Maybe that'll help jumpstart the offense, and this can be a team effort put on by these Texas State Tigers. Texas Southern Tigers, pardon me.
Yes, there is a Texas State, a team that they played this year.
They don't talk about that, Charlie.
They lost that game 63-39. Here's Grambling with the ball and trying to get around the corner and nowhere to run. Look at the defense. They're fired up down there. Big number 90 is Matthew Valmore, and he is fired up. He's a returning starter. He's tied for 5th in the SWAC in sacks.
Good penetration. What are you doing? They're crowding the line of scrimmage. They've got an 8-man box. Daring Grambling to throw the football. They know that Grambling wants to come out and run the football. So I think the defensive line is trying to rise to the occasion. Good individual effort there by the big fella, Matthew Valmore.
Walker and Warren are in the backfield. Back to pass is Dillon. Under a little pressure. Scrambles out of there, but is not going to get very far as Peters, number 50, is there. He also had some help from number 44 defensively, Dewan Fulgham. Also Antonio St. Rose. So they're all over the place, the linebackers, and they lose a yard on that play.
Good pressure on the quarterback. Now the key is, what do you do with third down defense? They've shown, Grambling's shown their hand. They're not going to throw the ball vertically. They're not going to risk it. How does Texas Southern take advantage of it? Do they play disciplined coverage up front in order to force Grambling to throw the football?
Back to pass on third down. Now deciding to run is Dillon. Makes a good move and gets the first down outside the 30 to the 32-yard line before Zach Logan made the stop defensively. But you know, when Jay, one of the things we know that Rod Broadway did at the beginning of the game, because everybody talks about how good their defense is, they elected to defer the opening kickoff and to go on defense first. They did a pretty good job stopping Texas Southern 3 and out, but then wasn't able to score when they got the ball back. Even though they didn't get the ball back in great field position because they started at their own 2-yard line. And a host of jerseys that are in dark in color were there to make the stop on Frank Warren, the sophomore out of Pleasant Grove, Alabama.
You know, you talk about Rod Broadway. How often do we see it? That the team really does start to take the shape and personality of their head coach. For years, you had Grambling State with Melvin Spears, Doug Williams throwing the ball like crazy. Basketball on turf, right? Broadway comes in. He's a defensive guy. He's like, we're going to play defense. And Grambling folks are really proud of this defensive effort that they've got down there in Ruston, Louisiana. Talking about a team that only gives up 10 points per game in conference play.
Now, be careful when you say Ruston, Louisiana. They're not in Ruston.
Grambling, Louisiana?
Grambling, Louisiana. You stay in Ruston when you go there.
Okay.
They take exception to that.
Wherever it is, I know it's somewhere in between Shreveport and Monroe.
And no question.
Depends on which direction you're coming from, what you get off on first.
What airport you're flying to. It is 3rd down and 5 for the Tigers of Grambling. So far today, they are 3 of 4 in 3rd down conversions.
If you're Texas Southern, you can't allow the quarterback to run for another first down. Make him throw the football.
He's back to pass. A flag is down. It's complete to Warren. And Warren has a little running room, and he's finally tripped up there before he could get a good head of steam by Kadarian Wilkins, who made the stop defensively, number 13. Let's see what the penalty marker's about.
Legal motion. Gives the offense. Number 32. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Chris McIntosh, who's been used basically as a blocking back up front in front of Warren or Walker, was the man guilty of moving too soon, and Rod Broadway a little perplexed on the sideline. Remember again the scenario that we have here. Grambling looking to get back to the SWAC championship for the 2nd straight year, but in order to do that, they're going to have to win out. They're the only team in the conference
say, not so fast, Grambling. You still got to play Texas Southern tonight.
That's right.
Don't look ahead to the Bayou Classic now.
Dillon puts it up in the air, and it's out of bounds, way out of bounds. No chance to being complete, as Terrence Dunn was the intended receiver.
You know what happened there, Charlie? The center snapped the ball on 1, and it was called for on 2. I mean, you look at the delay reaction of everybody. Nobody knew the ball was going to be snapped except for the center. Look at everybody standing around. The quarterback's looking to the left. See? He just snapped the ball on his own. So when that happened, you had a jailbreak there by the quarterback, and he just threw it up for grabs.
So they'll punt it away for the first time tonight, the Grambling Tigers, as Desmond Spivey will kick it to that young man who's a track star in his own right, and that's Junior Osborne, very dangerous return man for Texas Southern, averaging 18 yards per punt return.
Osborne needs to move up, too. I'm standing right here where he is. He's 40 yards deep.
5-yard penalty. 4th down.
You know, that's the 4th penalty on Grambling tonight. Here's a team that's averaging about 69 yards in penalties a game, and they already have 27 in this game.
I don't expect a strong punt into this win, so look for Osborne to catch this ball on the fly running up.
High snap, and it's going to be a dead duck. It's not even going to get to midfield. So Texas Southern will get the ball in great field position at the 49-yard line of Grambling. They lead it in this contest by a score of 7-0. We're in the first quarter with 1:07 remaining. 7-0 Texas Southern over Grambling here in Houston. It's time now to open up the ESPNU yearbook for a Thursday night reunion. Now, this gentleman was a 2-time All-American at Grambling State University, drafted by the Knicks, the 1970 NBA MVP, and inducted into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame in 1982. Jay, you know who it might be?
He probably should have been a tight end. You know, I'm surprised Eddie Robinson didn't make him play football because he showed the toughness. Willis Reed.
He did show toughness. Everybody can remember.
I like those type of plays.
The big game and the playoffs where he went in the locker room. A lot of people didn't think he'd come back, and he came back in the team in the NBA Finals, won it.
Was he a football player trapped in a basketball player's body?
Could have been. Oh, nowhere to run for Cornelius Harmon. They say the flag, not a flag, but a whistle blew the play dead. No fumble. Coming up with it is Keith Hall, the linebacker. As you look at number 91 there, coming back with it, that's Kendall Robinson, sophomore out of Birmingham, Alabama.
It's a loss of 3.
You know, one thing they're starting to do is bring pressure. You know, they're bringing linebackers. They're really trying to get to the quarterback. As you'll see the pressure come from this part there, coming through there. You got one guy blocking, occupying a guy, another guy blitzing up the middle, trying to force the tempo with the blitz. Thomas was the man in motion. Here's a little dump pass, and this goes incomplete, trying to get Caparelli coming out of the backfield. Caparelli, a sophomore out of Fairfax, Virginia. Osborne also out there trying to get into the pass pattern. I really tell you, Cornelius Harmon is going to earn his money tonight. I mean, they can't protect him.
He's going to be sore tomorrow.
Yeah, they've got the lead. Every time, and, you know, it's tough because you know they want to throw on every play, but they can't protect. You know, they just can't protect you at all. So when that happens, it's a tough day at the office, and things are just not going to get better.
Now Texas Southern calls a timeout with 29 seconds left before the end of this first quarter. And don't forget, Friday, ESPNU shoots 3 college basketball games your way from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Puerto Rico tip-off. First, we tip it off at 1:30 with Virginia Tech taking on Xavier. That's in the semifinals. Then at 5 Eastern, Chattanooga faces number 20 USC in a consolation game. And number 7, I should say number 12 Memphis at 7 Eastern takes on Seton Hall in the semifinals. Seton Hall knocked off Southern Cal earlier tonight, 63-61. Let's throw down to Jay. He's down on the sideline. He's not in the booth with me tonight. How you doing down there, Jay?
Man, I'm cold now. It's windy. Wind chill factor down here has dropped. There's a great day here for weather-wise in Texas, in Houston, but it's nippy because of the wind. But one of the things down here, with that being the case, this is Texas Southern's last opportunity with 30 seconds left in the half to take advantage of having the wind in their favor. But one thing I feel right now, they got to protect it. The quarterback can't afford the turnover because Grambling is dying to get back in this.
Caparelli's going to put it in the air. And it is intercepted. Intercepted downfield by Kenneth Anio, the senior out of Jackson, Louisiana, his 4th interception of the year, number 13 there.
Although we talked about the fact that Grambling doesn't get a lot of pressure on the quarterback, they do lead the SWAC conference with 20 interceptions on the year. They come out with the trick play, better throw, wide receiver might have had a chance to get into this football, but with the wind swirling around there, they could not make a play. Going up one-on-one, trying to do the trick play. That's the 21st interception for Grambling State. That leads the SWAC conference.
And they're second in the nation in the FCS in that department. Savannah State, believe it or not, Jay, is number 1.
Wow, Robbie Wells.
They have 23 interceptions to their credit this year. And they keep it on the ground with Walker on the carry.
I wouldn't be surprised if Coach Broadway decided to let this quarter run out. Let's get the wind in our favor, and let's start playing football in the second quarter when we've got the wind at our back.
And that's what's going to happen here. So each team has had a couple of mishaps. Grambling has had an interception and a muff. Texas Southern just turned it over for their first time tonight. Let's see if Grambling can capitalize. 7-0 after 1.
The Packers take on the Saints.
As we start the second quarter here in Houston, Texas Southern leading Grambling, but Grambling has the ball with a second down facing them. With a second down and about 8. Let's take a look at our first quarter stats. Grambling, 25 plays, 109 yards, but a pair of turnovers, a muff, and an interception. Texas Southern, 12 plays, 20 yards. They also have turned the ball over once. Ironically enough, that was only the 14th interception for Texas Southern this year out of 397 pass attempts. So that's not a bad percentage.
No, not at all, considering as much as they like to throw the football. I thought that number would have been in the 20s, but if you look at it, that just tells you got good coaching. Quarterbacks making good decisions, and Bobby Reed deserves a lot of credit. He came in there and protected the football.
Knighton with a great hit on the running back there. You see him out of Bradenton, Florida, the 6'2" 290-pound senior. Let's look at that one once again, Jay.
This is how you stuff it. One thing Grambling's trying to do is give all this misdirection. But what do you do when you got a team that's trying to fool you like they're going left and right? You run hard up the middle. Good pressure there, putting a big hit on. Anytime you get those guys in three-point stands making plays, that's a defensive coordinator's dream. 3rd
and 12. A loss of 4 on that last play by Knighton. Phillips in motion. Back to pass is Dillon. Under a little pressure. Now scrambles out. Has it complete on the near sideline and out of bounds for a first down. It looks like he'll just make the first down mark. That's Nick Lewis, the senior out of Marshall, Texas. Nick Lewis, along with Osborne from Grambling State University, both out of the same high school in Texas. Good 14 and a first down.
Yeah, look at this. Thrown on the run. What do? We saw him miss with accuracy because he threw off his back leg. This time got a little bit more zip into it. Look at the wide receiver with the little tap, tap.
This time on the ground, here's Walker, and Walker scrambles for another first down for the Tigers of Grambling State University.
Wow, what a good piece of running there by Walker. You talk about shifty moves just to get back to the line of scrimmage. Cornelius Walker made the first 3 guys missed it. You know, one thing about it, you see him up on the field, you think he's really big, but when he's running at you, watch him come through the hole. Watch this little slip move right here, cut back again. You know, that little shiftiness, the ability to make moves in small spaces.
Well, he wasn't able to make any move that time.
There was no space there.
No, again, big number 63 was there to make the stop defensively for the Tigers of Texas Southern. We're talking about Mr. Knighton.
How young is the offensive line of Grambling?
Very young, Jay.
Very young. That's been their Achilles heel, right? So the one strength, why you have to play the football game, and Texas Southern's a very young team as well, but the one strength they have, they've got some defensive tackles with some experience. Matthew Valmore's a senior. David Knighton's a senior. So they've got some experience on that defensive line, and they're taking it to the Grambling offensive line.
2nd down and 11. We have movement up front. Big number 73 was a little anxious. That's Quint Roberts. They say he's
offense, number 73, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Talked to Coach Broadway, talking about some of that youth up front. He's one of those true freshmen from Anniston, Alabama, and said he may be the biggest surprise that he's seen on that offensive line. A kid that kind of makes him smile because he's come such a long way.
And he's a great football player, but the one thing that happens with freshmen, they make mental mistakes. And anytime a lineman jumps offside,
but Jay,
that's a mental mistake.
But Jay,
not a freshman anymore. Not a freshman anymore. You're right, Charles.
This is the 11th game of the season. 2nd down. Play action. Little pressure, little screen, and nowhere to run for Warren as they read it very, very well. The screen was flushed out. Fulgham was there to make the stop defensively. Peters also there.
Take a look on the left side, the right side of your screen. Antonio Rose is going to come into your picture. The outside linebacker, number 16, although he doesn't make the tackle by himself, the outside force to force the runner to go back inside allowed the team defense to get there.
A loss of 3 on the last play. It is 3rd down and 16. Here's Dillon. Little play action, throwing it down the field, and it's broken up. He had a man out there, but good defense downfield by the secondary. And then Glasper was one of the men out there defending, and he already has a pick so far this evening. Nick Lewis, the intended receiver.
Nick Lewis, you've got to come up and make that catch. There was actually a great throw squeezed in between 2 defenders there by Dillon. And Nick Lewis, you're the senior wide receiver on this Grambling offense. 3rd and forever. Quarterback makes a great throw. You got to come down with that catch.
Spivey on to attempt his 2nd punt of the night. His first one was only 22 yards, but he was punting into the wind. Now he's going to take off. He's going to go.
They still don't know he's running.
And he's got the first down, and he's still rolling. And leaps over a defender and is finally down, and a late flag comes out.
Charlie, I was watching that play, and as he was taking off running, the Texas Southern return team still didn't know he was running the football 30 yards downfield. I actually thought he could have broke that for a touchdown if he was a little bit better athlete.
It was good for 41. It was good for 41 yards. That is Desmond Spivey. He's a redshirt freshman from Mansfield, Louisiana.
Hold on. How long was that run, Charlie?
41.
by a running back?
No.
A punter. Wow.
The punter. That was the punter.
How does that happen? I mean, they didn't even throw the ball or anything. He just took off and ran.
He just took off and ran. The officials are discussing whatever the penalty marker is about. Have no idea what it is. But I'm sure that Anthony Johnson, the referee, will inform us of what the discussion is all about. Something happened over there on the far sideline after Spivey went out of bounds. Here it comes.
During the return, an illegal block against the offense, 10 yards from the spot of the foul. After the play, dead ball, personal foul, number 50, 15 yards from the succeeding spot, first down.
Exama, number 50, there he is. He was the personal foul guy. So let's see where all this goes. They're still going to pick up a first down, I think.
Look at these guys just running with their backs to the punter.
I think they're going to pick up a first down. Well, maybe not.
Well, they said first down, so they're giving them
so
first down.
They got the first down, but then they start penalizing all the way back. So the ball is going to be at the 39-yard line, but they're going to get a first down out of it. They were punting from their 29. They're up to the 39, so they do get the first down. They keep the ball. Now here's Dillon rolling right, looking. And it's caught by Nick Lewis. Nick Lewis down the sideline and out of bounds. Finally run out of bounds by William Parker, number 51.
Wow, what a great job by Nick Lewis of snatching that ball out the air. Everybody was flowing to the sideline. He actually made the catch, and look how quickly he changes direction. Once he gets the ball, catches the ball, he's going against the grain. Good job turning upfield with a little leap, and I'm not a big fan of that leap. I've seen too many bad things happen when runners leave their feet.
We've seen a lot of it happening now. We see it on the pro level more so than anything as they keep the ball on the ground and go down inside. And it is Frank Ward on the carry. Let's look at it once again.
Yeah, you know, look at this. I mean, when you lead, you're vulnerable right now. When you're in the air, you're vulnerable. Anything can happen. You land when you hit. You go into the sidelines. Young kids at home, that's a trend I'm not really a fan of. But I'm just a quarterback. I don't know, Charlie.
Yeah, you probably only ran twice in your own career.
Yeah,
I remember one of them.
There you go.
I only remember one of them. One was good and one was bad. As Warren takes it down the field once again.
You know, down here on the trenches, I'm actually standing right here on the 25-yard line where they've got the ball. And I'm going to tell you something. Every now and then we're in the booth and we just forget. We like play video game football. We just draw up what we see. We forget about the physicality of the game of football. And that collision's going on. And right now, number 51 for Texas Southern, that linebacker, William Parker, he's bringing some leather with him every play.
And he's a true freshman out of Harmony High in Cincinnati, Ohio. Now they keep the ball on the ground with, again, is Frank Warren. They have a two-headed monster at running back in Cornelius Walker and Frank Warren. Warren came in averaging 3 yards a carry. Walker, 4.7.
I hype my man up, William Parker, and what does he do, Charlie? Watch him, number 51. He's going to come give me an arm tackle. No! No! Put the shoulder on him, wrap him. He arm tackled on me. Come on, Willie. I'm starting to feel like a coach down here, Charlie. I'm roaming the sideline. I got it going. Get in there. Hit somebody.
Terrence Mile is in there to add some blocking prowess up front for the Grambling Tigers as Harmon gets the call once again out of Pleasant Grove, Alabama. Pleasant Grove High. So the ball is spotted in the red zone. Second down. Remember the last time they got down this close, Greg Dillon threw an interception, his 7th of the year. Let's see if they can come away with some points this time with a 2nd and goal facing them. Now here is a quarterback. He's going to leap into the end zone for 6. Greg Dillon, he runs it in from 10 yards out. Sophomore out of Bogalusa, Louisiana, his 2nd rushing touchdown of the year.
Design play, quarterback draw. Everybody knew he was going to run it except for the Texas Southern defense. And talk about leaping in the end zone. Look at the hops up and over. Man, these quarterbacks today are so athletic. I mean, wow.
Remember the fake punt kept this drive alive. The point after is missed. The point after is missed by Louis Leal. That's only his 4th or 5th miss of the year. He was 24 for 28 and PATs coming in. So it remains a 1-point ball game with Texas Southern on top by a point, 7-6. Don't forget, coming up after the break, the Campus Connection. And we'll strike up the band with Jay and the Oceans of Soul. Welcome back here, 7-6 Texas Southern over Grambling, and it's time for ESPNU's Campus Connection, and it's designed to get the pulse of the campus through the student-generated content. Let's go down to Texas Southern drum major, Dexter Burton. Dexter, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing all right.
All right. You're a kinesiology major from right here in Houston. Thanks for joining us. How has your experience been as being a part of this Texas Southern Oceans of Soul band?
Well, being a drum major in the Ocean of Soul band has taught me a lot. It has given me leadership skills, organizational skills, responsibility, and just how to be successful in life.
Well, it's pretty good. You know, you're one of the best bands out there. How hard do you guys work during the week to get ready for these games?
Oh, we work pretty hard during the week. We rehearsal about 5 days a week and about 4 hours a day, 2 hours on music and 2 hours on the field.
So the football team has nothing on you guys, right?
Oh, nah, not as much practice as we do.
All right, well, you guys are doing a pretty good job. I think it's time for you to strike up the band and let us hear what you've got to offer.
All right.
Here in the second quarter, Louis Leal, who just shanked an extra point attempt and failed to tie it up as Grambling takes advantage of the Texas Southern interception, and they put 6 points on the board. On the far side, here's Junior Osborne. Up the middle he goes, and he's down at the 22-yard line. Boy, if he could have gotten through that little seam, it would have been lights out. Let's look at that Grambling State scoring drive. It was a drive that went 14 plays, 86 yards, and used up just under 4 minutes off the clock. Under 5 minutes, 6 minutes off the clock, 5:59 to be exact. Rod Broadway feeling a little better. His team got on the board, but they turned the ball over twice. In fact, that was a concern of his coming into the game, Jay. He said, hey, you know, we've turned it over 5 times in the last 2 ball games. And that's something he wanted to do here this evening as Caparelli and Marcus Wright are in the backfield. And that's Marcus Wright on the carry for TSU as they try to get a little something going with the ground game.
You know, and one thing about Rod Broadway, going back to a team taking his personality, he likes to run the football. I've never met a defensive coach that becomes a head coach that doesn't believe in having a running game. And they're one of the most balanced teams in the conference. The 3 most balanced teams in the SWAC conference in terms of run-pass ratio: Grambling, Prairie View, Southern University.
Why did I think you would say Prairie View?
I'm sorry, Jackson, not Southern, Jackson. You know, Grambling is separated by about 150 yards in terms of offense running and passing. Jackson State, listen to this, Charlie. Jackson State between run and pass, their differential, 25 yards. They've only thrown for 25 more yards than they've run for. And by the way, Rick Comity, what kind of coach is he? Defensive coach.
Defensive coach, yep. It is third down. Third and about 3. 0 for 3 in third down conversions. Texas Southern tonight. Here's a pass, and it is caught. And their forward progress will give them a first down. And it's Andrew Thomas, the junior, out of Germantown, Maryland, who came up with it. Let's go down to Jay.
You know, we talk about this. One thing I like about Johnny Cole, I could play football for Johnny Cole. He likes to throw it, and throw some more. And you can tell, very animated, very sophisticated passing game. There's a reason why Texas Southern throws for 260 yards a game.
And they keep it on the ground, bouncing it to the outside, and not much running room for Marcus Wright, the freshman out of Dunbar High in Dayton.
You know, and as a follow-up to that, when you think about some of the great passers in the SWAC conference, well, or in all of Black College, Johnny Cole's been responsible for a number of them. Everybody remembers Darnell Kennedy, one of the best to ever lace him up at Alabama State. But also when he was at Tennessee State, a little kid by the name of Leon Murray, who lit up the OVC. So one thing that Johnny Cole does produce is a quarterback-friendly offense.
And he had a pretty good quarterback in Bobby Reed from Oklahoma State before Bobby got hurt. And Cornelius Harmon, he's got a pretty good arm. Young man out of Port Arthur, Texas. He's running the offense now for Texas Southern. He's back to pass and throws it, and it's too high, a little bit too high on the far sideline.
This was too high, Charlie, but I thought this was the big-time throw. I mean, he's got pressure coming. They're blitzing with Keith Hall. So what do you have to do? Get rid of that football. They take his legs out. It was an opportunity for a wide receiver to make a catch. Now, it wasn't a perfectly thrown ball, but if the wide receiver would have been able to hold on to that one, that's a big-time play there. And I give credit to Harmon just getting rid of that football. When they're blitzing you like that, you don't know how you can get rid of the football. You got to kind of do the different things there just to get rid of the football. You're not going to get your accuracy like you always would have with people at your feet. But Harmon, the senior, showing some leadership, showing courage under fire.
You're on camera. We saw you. A little pressure on Harmon this time. Incomplete. Osborne, the intended receiver, it'll be fourth down.
So now that's one of the mistakes there. See, I give him credit for having courage under fire. He eluded the rush. So once he beat the rush, he had another 2 or 3 seconds to look downfield. But once he got outside, he just decided to hurry up and get rid of the ball. Nobody was around him. He could have looked for a secondary receiver, settled by throwing a wild errant pass for the incompletion.
They're punting into the win for the first time tonight, Texas Southern. Solomon has had some very good punts up until this time, up until now.
You're not kicking nothing good in this win, Charlie.
But at least it's a little bit more of a line drive, but it's still not a bad punt as it dies at about the 27-yard line. And the pressure on the quarterback, Cornelius Harmon, continues. It was a 38-yard punt. When we come back, Grambling will have the ball down by 1.
What would you do
for your local retailer?
Under 7 minutes to go here in the first half of play. 7-6 our score. Let's look at the standings in the Southwestern Athletic Conference. Jackson State is already wrapped up the East. They're 5-1. They have 1 game left against Alcorn State on Saturday in Jackson, Mississippi. They are going to the SWAC championship. They're the defending SWAC champs for the 2nd straight year. Grambling State, Prairie View, and Southern all hoping for a scenario to get them into the championship game. Right now, Grambling State sitting in the driver's seat because they have their fate in their own hands.
From the 26.
And they have the ball right now at their own 26-yard line. First down and 10, trailing by a point. And here's the handoff. Keeping it on the ground once again. And it's Cornelius Walker. Let's look at the scenarios facing the Tigers of Grambling State University. If they win out tonight and next week in the Bayou Classic against Southern, everything's a moot point. They go to the SWAC championship game against Jackson. They lose tonight, win next week, they must win a tiebreaker. They win tonight, lose next week, it forces a 3-team coin flip. And the eliminated team in that coin flip would go. Here's a pass outside, incomplete off the fingertips of Van Phillips, the freshman from Alabama. Covered downfield by Darrell Glasper, who has an interception already to his credit. Going back to just explain that 3-coin scenario. In fact, I'm going to hold off because we're going to be interviewing the commissioner of the SWAC, and I'm going to let him explain it rather than me talking about it. We'll let the man who designed it. I'll let him talk about it. He put this thing together. He made this mess, so we're going to let him sort it out.
Ooh, mess. Harsh words, Charlie.
Third down. Words. This one is complete out at the 48-yard line. Great catch there by Kenneth Baptiste, the redshirt freshman from Lafayette, Louisiana. Zach Logan there defensively for Texas Southern.
You talk about quarterbacks not being tough guys. Take a look at this. Dylan knows he's going to get hit. He gets outside. This guy's coming right at him. I'm still going to complete the pass, get the first down, get hit, get up, dust it off, pop a collar, 1st and 10, Grambling State.
25 yards on the catch after the pass by Greg Dillon. And this one hits the ground, and the quarterback hits the ground, and flags go out. We got a false start, and that's going to be a 5-yard penalty against the Tigers of Grambling.
Tip ball, snap infraction, number 51 on the white team, 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
Must have been talking about our center, Reve Smith.
Hey, Charlie, since you got Dewar up there in the booth, you think you can possibly talk to him about all these flags that seem to come down anytime we got SWAC football games on TV?
They're not doing too bad. I mean, you know, 7 of the penalties tonight, there's only been 8 penalties in the ball game. 7 of them have gone against Grambling.
We're just in the 2nd quarter, Charlie.
And a great defensive pressure put on by Texas Southern, led by Matthew Valmore, who's having a pretty good ball game tonight, along with James Peters.
The youthfulness of the offensive line of Grambling is there. You know, we talk about sacks. They don't sack quarterbacks a lot, and they allow their quarterbacks to get sacked. Grambling averages their quarterbacks getting hit 3.5 times a game. I mean, that's official sacks. So that's too many hits on your quarterback. That's not talking about plays like we had previously where the quarterback gets hit with pressure in his face. You're giving up 3.5 sacks. You've got to protect your quarterback better than that.
Yeah, they've been sacked 35 times. In fact, they're ranked 113th out of all of the schools in FCS in sacks allowed. And the quarterback is not going to get to the 1st down marker. It'll bring up a 3rd down. 3rd and about 13.
44-1 Filton.
Wow, what a great seal block here on the outside. You know, you talk about running backs and they talk about the chip block here. I want you to take a look at my man right there. Once he gets out, that's Walker. Watch him seal the edge. That allows your quarterback to get outside. Then it becomes a run pass option. Greg Dillon able to pick up positive yards because of the great seal block by Walker.
Fulgham was there to make sure he didn't get to the 1st down marker. 3rd down and 14. Grambling tonight so far 5 of 9 in 3rd down conversions. Empty backfield. Well, it's not too empty. Walker was the play action, and now he lets it fly. This is over the head of the intended receiver.
He got hit again, too, Charlie.
He certainly did, and the intended receiver was Van Phillips. And this one went a little bit too big for him. So it'll be a 4th down punting situation for the Grambling Tigers. Remember the last time Desmond Spivey just took off. I bet you they're watching him this time. I bet you he won't take off and run unabated to the end zone.
He's the most popular man in the arena right now. Everybody's watching him in the stadium.
4th down, low snap. He's looking to run. Oh, he may have a little trouble trying to get to the near side. And out of bounds in front of the Texas Southern bench. They watched him that time. I think he was determined, Jay, to run it. He wasn't even thinking about punting it.
No, he was. There was actually great pressure coming on the left side. And they had a guy that came in there unopposed. Take a look here, coming on the right side, on the left side of your screen, right there. He's too close. He's got a beeline, low snap. So what do? You got to try and make a play. And actually almost got some blocks there to seal the edge, but that was a good one there. And I talk about Spivey not being an athlete. Well, he's a former wide receiver, so he is pretty athletic. So let me correct myself. But in that case there, I think that was his football knowledge, realizing the punt was going to be blocked. Let's try and make something happen.
No, he was a wide receiver at one time, and now Texas Southern with the ball in great field position at the 48 of Grambling. The 2nd time tonight they've had the ball and started in Grambling territory. Nice move by the quarterback, Harmon, to step up in the pocket with the pressure on him and get it complete to Junior Osborne.
You know, it's not a matter of how fast you are, but it's how much pocket awareness you have. Charles Gamble came untouched on the blitz. Good job by Harmon of sidestepping him.
And this pass again, this goes incomplete on the near side. Brian Haith, the intended receiver, junior out of Upland, California. Number 6 receiver in the SWAC. Just didn't get the ball to him.
He's one of those guys they say is one of the most underrated players on this team. He's a solid football player, but because of William Osborne, who's been relatively quiet this evening, Haith gets overlooked.
Talk about Osborne being a track star, but he's a football player that runs track, not a track star that plays football. Pressure on the quarterback, steps out of the pocket, lets it go, has it complete, far sideline, and it's Andrew Thomas on the reception for first down.
And you see Texas Southern feels they've got him on the rope, so they're stepping on the gas pedal, continuing to go with this hurry-up version of the cold-blooded offense. They're not wasting any time getting everybody up to the line of scrimmage, getting plays called.
They used to call it the Hobo Octane Big Play Offense. Hobo. High-octane big play. 1st and 10. Harmon under pressure this time. And he lets it go. It's going to be incomplete. The pressure coming from Melvin Matthews, number 65.
I mean, they can't block anybody right now, Charlie. I'm a former quarterback. I think I may get hit over here. I mean, I may get hit if I get too close. The protection is porous. And, you know, look at this. I mean, there's no blitz. That's what they call a good old-fashioned jailbreak. 300 pounds coming at you. Harmon did a great job just getting rid of the football.
Melvin Matthews, who's one of those guys is tied for 5th in the conference in sacks, is coming with a vengeance. Now to keep it on the ground this time, running it to the right side. Not much running room over there for Texas Southern.
Now, this is one of the times in the game where you got to look at the clock. You got 3 minutes left. Don't hurry up your offense. Try and milk it down a little bit where Grambling doesn't have that much time left on the clock going into the half. So a little bit of clock management. So you can tell, let's give credit to Johnny Cole and staff. They've slowed down the play call and realizing, hey, let's kind of deflate the football a little bit, give our defense a chance to secure the lead before the half.
1 of 5 in 3rd down conversions for Texas Southern tonight. And they're facing a 3rd and 9 right now inside the 20. They're in the red zone. A little pressure. Here's the pass, and it's behind Osborne. It goes incomplete. Jeffrey Jack was the man defending downfield, number 4 for the Tigers of Grambling State. So to bring up a 4th down situation, let's see what they do as far as the field goal kicking unit coming on. The longest they've had a field goal this year was 34 yards, and that was against Arkansas State. This one will come from the 24-yard line or 25. It'll be a 35-yard attempt.
Charlie, like we do in golf, add 10 yards. You better go up a club. This is like a 45-yard attempt going directly into the wind.
Yeah. He's made 4 of his last 5. Let's see if Hirsch can make this one. Now we're going to have a delay of game.
Wow.
So now that moves him 5 yards further back. It'll be a 40-yard attempt going into the wind.
He's kicking directly into that, Charlie. That flag is located directly in the center of the goalpost, and that wind is kicking. That 5-yard penalty doesn't hurt. So what was a 45-yard field goal, I feel, with the wind now becomes like a 50-yarder. It's 50-50.
Kick is blocked. It can be picked up and run back, and it will not be, but it is a blocked field goal attempt on Hirsch. First time he's had one blocked this year. There's a timeout on the field. Still remains a 1-point game in Houston.
The Southwestern Athletic.
2:25 remaining here in the first half, and this 40-yard field goal attempt by Hirsch is blocked by Grambling. Let's see who got a hand on it. Number 8 there for the Tigers of Grambling State University. That's Nigel Copeland, who came up with the block, Jay.
Yeah, lazy snap there. Not a lot of velocity. Coming untouched on the angle. Great angle taken by the blocker. You see, I like the fact that he ran to a spot. So often you see people run to where the kicker is. Well, the ball's not going to be there. It's going to be where he kicks it from. Good job by Nigel Copeland of running to the anticipated point of the football.
So Grambling now gets the ball with 2:25 to go. And let's see what kind of offense they're able to muster. Greg Dillon running the offense. They have the ball at their own 32-yard line. 5th possession for them today. And this one is caught just Now they call it incomplete. Off of the hands of big number 81 there. That's Larry Donnell. We're in Houston, Texas for the Southwestern Athletic Conference matchup. The Tigers of Grambling State University taking on Texas Southern from Del Mar Stadium. My partner Jay Walker decided to work the game tonight from down on the sideline in the field so he could be a little closer to the action. I'm Charlie Neal. I'm all alone up here in the booth.
Finally got what you wanted. You finally got rid of me, huh?
It is 2nd down and 10. Letting this one fly. And somehow the ball is caught downfield by Kier Thompson. How he came up with that with all of the dark jerseys around him, I'll never know.
I mean, you know, they bring in a new quarterback, J.P. Tillman, and he gets a completion. But right off the bat, his very first read was horrible. There were 4 guys around him.
But Tillman is known as the pocket passer. Dylan more of a running type, so they're trying to get something going before halftime. Here's Tillman going to the air once again. Has a man out there, and it's intercepted in the end zone. No, they call it incomplete. They call it incomplete. I don't know how they did that. That was DeMarcus Washington, who I thought came up with it. Now it's discussion between the back judge down there and the side of field judge.
Look at the band. You see the band members behind there? Look, the band members are saying, we saw it. That's an interception.
That is an interception.
I'm 70 yards away, and he clearly caught that ball.
And back judge, I think he overruled it, and he made it. It is an interception. Oh, no. No, they didn't. Ooh, we got to look at that once again. That's why you need replay at this level.
I agree. I mean, what a fantastic job by DeMarcus Washington going up, catching that ball at its highest point, out leaping the wide receiver.
Did we see it again? Here it is.
I'm looking. He's a little fella, 5'9".
See, what they're saying is nobody really had possession because there were 2 players there. And, of course, normally the tie goes to the receiver, so it goes incomplete. This is Nick Lewis on the reception. Let's look at it once again.
And I think your point was correct here. I think the referees realized, well, it looked like Washington's got it, but if both guys have hands on the ball, the tie does go to the offensive team, so that could have just as easily been a touchdown for Grambling. Great effort by Nick Lewis to get back in that play. And I think the officials thought too close to call. The safer call is incomplete pass.
Right. It should have been intercepted. It wasn't. Offensive player did a great job, and nobody came down with it. Here's JP.
Oh, look at him.
And he's in trouble. He's being bounced around like a pinball there. And the clock stops with 1 minute and 8 seconds to go. And Grambling uses its first timeout of the game. Texas Southern has 1 remaining. You know, we should look at this season for this Grambling State team and look at how they started the year, Jay. They lost to Nevada 49-13. They beat Alcorn 29-0. Lost to Northwestern State 31-19. And now have reeled off 7 straight wins, beating Jackson State, Langston, Prairie View, Alabama A&M, Alabama State, Mississippi Valley, and Arkansas Pine Bluff. And 1 game left after this one, and that's also the Bayou Classic, and that's the big one down in New Orleans against Southern the Saturday after Thanksgiving. Don't forget, stay with us at halftime. Beth Mowens, Charles Arbuckle, and Mike Minter in the studio, and they'll update us on the Hurricanes as they look to gain control of the ACC. Nobody seems to want to win the ACC this year. Number 2, Texas Tech. Number 5, Oklahoma. A big preview of that game going on in the Big 12. And early season tournament hoop action coming your way.
You know, early in the year, I had an opportunity to see this Grambling State team, and I didn't think they're necessarily that good, but great job by Rob Broadway getting these folks into the football game. And you know what? It's halftime. You know what happens at halftime, right? So they're getting ready. You know, halftime, everybody's here getting ready. They're doing the stretch. They're dapping each other. Y'all gonna bring it? Y'all got something to bring? That's what they're saying.
J.P. Tillman back to pass. Has some time. Throws in the end zone. Incomplete. Bounced around, and Kier Thompson was there. He almost came up with it, but Antonio St. Rose made sure. So they're going to turn it over.
Charlie, one of the things I like to say is I'm a big nickname guy. You know, all these black college bands can play, but I love the name. Your name is the what? Ocean of Soul. The Oceans of Soul band, they're going to do their thing here at halftime. Charlie, this is one of those times, although I'm fighting the elements and I'm freezing down here, see, you're not this close to the action, Charlie. I can feel it. I can taste it. How about you?
Yeah, I feel it. I feel good up here in the booth.
You want some OC there, but it's all right. And we're going to do our thing. You stay up there. This is where the real men hang out. See, Charles, you don't want none of this right here. This is grass. It's turf. You know, you don't want to mess up your suit.
No, I don't.
See, I'm willing to pop a collar and get physical.
First down at the 30-yard line. Texas Southern keeps the ball on the ground, runs straight ahead with Marcus Wright. Nothing doing there. Clock continuing the run. Now Grambling decides to call a timeout at second with 54 seconds to go. We talked about how Grambling's season started and how they went through the year. Let's look at Texas Southern. They opened the season here in Houston at Reliance Stadium against Prairie View, and they lost that one 34-14. Then they played Arkansas State, lost that one by 73 points, 83-10. Then they came out with a 3-game win streak over Shaw, Texas College, and Concordia, but have lost 4 of their last 5 to Texas State, Southern University, Jackson State. They beat Alcorn 30-29, and they lost the last one in a shootout with Mississippi Valley 58-44. Let's look at our SWAC storylines. Jackson State, second straight SWAC East title. In fact, they were the last team to represent the Southwestern Athletic Conference in the 1AA playoffs, as it was known as that at that time. Prairie View 9-1, but they're not eligible for postseason berth, and I'll tell you why after this play. As they keep it on the ground and running straight ahead for a first down is Marcus Wright, and he picks up some pretty good yards before he's brought down by Jeffrey Jack. We talked about Prairie View. They probably would be eligible for an at-large bid, but because the SWAC championship is not played, shouldn't say the SWAC championship, the Bayou Classic is not played till after the same weekend the FCS playoffs begin, they will not be eligible to go, because they're still in contention as a fumble, and it's picked up by big number 55 on the return for the Grambling Tigers, and they're going to go to the end zone for a touchdown. And taking it back is Charles Gamble. Touchdown, Grambling.
Wow. Just extra run on the outside. Quarterback laying a block. We like that. But all of a sudden, just a good hit. Helmet on the football there by the Grambling State Tiger defense. That's number 4, Jeffrey Jack, who always seems to be making those type of plays. And some people say Jack's one of those guys that could be a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. 45-yard fumble return by Charles Gamble. And it just seems like a guy like Jeffrey Jack is always in the right place at the right time.
Now for the point after for Grambling. Lewis Leo, who missed the extra point earlier, but he puts it through this time. And just like that, how things can change so quickly, Jay. Grambling is up 13-7 with 22 seconds to go before half.
You know, in the momentum. I don't know how you recover the momentum from a play like that happening during the halftime locker room speech. I mean, your team was rolling out here trying to get extra effort. I mean, quarterback's blocking, but Jack just kept that paw out there. He had that glove out there, got it on the football. Gamble was on the spot, and the momentum just completely changed. And I don't know. I mean, this is where coaches got to earn their money. You got to get your team hyped up to forget about that, but I don't know how. You played a pretty good first half. You held them, and that turnover there, your offense became a liability as the Grambling State Tiger defense trying to help jumpstart the offense.
Yeah, they've done a pretty good job there with Mr. Gamble. Charles Gamble, sophomore out of Southern High in Durham, North Carolina.
Southern, don't say Southern and Grambling in the same sentence.
We have a Southern High.
Oh, okay. I thought you were slipping, Charles.
In Durham, North Carolina.
You know, we were talking about some of the remaining games, and doesn't it seem like every year in the college football season, in the SWAC, it always comes down to that game in New Orleans. Something's always riding on it.
It always is, and that's the way they like it.
That's the way who likes it now.
That's the way the fans like it. I mean,
that's the way the state of Louisiana likes it.
It's like the Florida Classic with Bethune-Cookman and Florida A&M. They want something to matter. They don't want it just to be both teams going there 0 and whatever.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you a story for years and years and years, as this is going to go out of the end zone. For years, especially when Eddie Robinson was coaching at Grambling, all the years he was there, the winner, if you lost, you could lose 11 games going into the Bayou Classic. If you were coaching in Southern and you won that Bayou Classic game, you got a new contract for the next year. That was a bus ticket for another year. Now, if you lost it, you could be 11-0 going into that game. They didn't want you to lose that game. That was for bragging rights.
And before the game, I had an opportunity to talk to Coach Broadway from Grambling about the magnitude of the Bayou Classic this year, and he's like, "Oh, I get it now. We got a lot riding on that."
He didn't know last year. That was his first year in the conference, and he wasn't aware of what the magnitude was. But this year, he has an idea. And we're at halftime here. Coach Rod Broadway's team has taken a 13-7 lead by way of a fumble return, 45 yards or 44 yards by Gamble. Well, we're going to send it to the Sports Center U studio where Beth Moen, Charles Arbuckle, and Mike Mentor are standing by. We're at halftime here in Houston, where it's a 13-7 lead by the Tigers of Grambling over Texas Southern.
We got more college football coming your way with Grambling State and Texas Southern. The Ocean of Soul still performing at the half down in Houston.
As we get ready to start the second half here from Houston, Texas, Grambling on top of Texas Southern by a score of 13-7. Welcome back here to our Thursday night primetime college football. I'm Charlie Neal. Glad you could join us. And, the first half was a story of a team taking advantage of the other team's mistakes. Let's check out the first half highlights. The first drive by Grambling State, they took it all the way down the field. They went 18 plays, 91 yards, but got close to the end zone, just couldn't push it in. And the reason is Mr. Glasper comes up with an interception. And then we have a muff punt that's fallen on in the end zone by Logan. They missed the extra point. They made the extra point to make it 7-0. And then here's a pass to Nick Lewis, and he hurdles and keeps a Grambling drive alive. And then the quarterback, Dillon, decides to take off. He runs it in from 10 yards out, and the extra point is missed. But then the field goal is blocked. That is a Texas Southern field goal attempt blocked by Grambling. And then this long play into the end zone. It comes away. Nobody comes up with the ball, and it's an incomplete pass in the end zone. But then just before half, here's the run around the left side, and the ball is stripped away from the Texas Southern running back, and it's running, and Gamble brings it back 44 yards for the touchdown. They kick the extra point. Grambling takes the lead at the half, 13-7. Let's go down to Jay Walker with Coach Cole.
All righty, Coach Cole, after leading most of the first half, you gave it away with a turnover at the end. What'd you tell your team in the locker room?
Well, we can't do that with a good football team. We got to keep on playing hard and not turn the ball over and give them easy plays, because Grambling's a good football team.
We know you like to throw the football. The wind is swirling in this stadium. You have to lean on the running game?
Well, I think it's more so that, they're playing for the pass, but, we're getting beat up front, and we just have to do a better job of blocking them up front, and we do have to get some plays established and be able to run the football successfully.
And more importantly, do you think your team has what it takes to finish the job they started in the first half?
I'm pretty sure. We came out and the kids played well, and, they're giving us all this guidance. All those freshmen I've been playing, they all men now. So, they really showing it tonight, so that's a good thing for us.
All right, best of luck to you in the second half.
Thank you.
Good luck. Charlie, back to you in the booth.
Well, there's Harmon warming up on the sideline there. As we said in the first half, Jay, at this point of the season, they're not freshmen anymore, and Coach just reiterated that point, said they're grown men now. So they'll be kicking off. That is Texas Southern to start the second half. Grambling State University on top, 13-7. We'll be back to return the second half kickoff. They won the toss to begin the game and just elected to defer to the second half. Desmond Leonard and Kier Thompson are the deep men. It's going to come down to Kier Thompson at the 19. Thompson, and he's out to the 35, make it the 36-yard line, a 17-yard return of the second half kickoff. And let's look quickly at the stats from the first half of this ball game, and you see Grambling with the decided edge in terms of total yards, 200 more yards than Texas Southern, but only 6 more points on the scoreboard. Each team with a pair of turnovers in the first half. Grambling has 13 points off turnovers, Texas Southern 7, and you see also a decided edge at time of possession as the quarterback Dillon decides to keep it, runs on the right side, and is very close to another first down for the Tigers of Grambling. J.P. Tillman came on and spelled Greg Dillon toward the end, especially on that last drive, because they had a long way to go. They started that drive at their own 32, and they were trying to get it downfield, and he shows he has the arm, as we saw in that first half highlight reel, where he put one in the end zone, but they were unable to come up with a score offensively. And here's a run around the left side by Baptiste, but Baptiste, that run was very, very easily diagnosed on the far sideline. And coming up is Curtis Thomas to make the stop defensively, the linebacker, the sophomore out of Houston's Aldine High.
Yeah, that's not a good sign if you're Grambling, where you've got to rely on running east-west football rather than north-south football. That means you don't have control of the line of scrimmage, and basically that was the case of the first half. The defensive line for Texas Southern really took it to the offensive line, so they're making coaching adjustments by trying to run the ball sideline to sideline.
3rd and 14. It should be or 4 rather. 3rd and 4 for Grambling Tigers, and the Tigers do move the chains. They get the first down just shy of the midfield stripe at about the 47-48-yard line.
Do you see those first half stats? I mean, how many times have we done a game where a team has had the football for 20 minutes and held the opponent to 9 minutes
and was trailing?
It was trailing all the time. And if you're Prairie View, Texas Southern, you're very thankful that you had a chance to go in there up by 1, but the turnover at the end.
No, we had that happen last week with Buffalo and Akron in terms of time of possession, but yet at halftime it was a very close ball game, and that was the one that went 4 overtimes for us.
You know a little football too, Charlie. You see what Coach Cole said. Hey, they're not freshmen anymore.
Right. Well,
they're men. They've grown up 11 games in. Right. See, I learned a lot from hanging with you, Charlie.
2nd down and 9. Back to passes, Dillon. And somehow he gets it into the hands of the receiver on the near side, but it's called out of bounds. That was Terrence Dunn on the reception. He's still looking for his first reception of the night.
Yeah, this is one right here on the line when he caught it, left his feet at the left foot right there on the line. Easiest day, easy call to make.
I talked to Coach Broadway earlier this week, and asked him what his big concerns were. And he said his concern for this team was, are they going to be focused the way he wanted them to be? Are they going to be prepared for this game? Are they going to look beyond Texas Southern to Southern University in the Bayou Classic? And that's something you always have to guard against, especially when you have so much on the line. And here's a pass complete on the far sideline. Coming up with it is Nick Lewis, and he makes another reception. That's his 4th catch of the night out of Marshall, Texas. Antonio St. Rose there defending for Texas Southern.
Now you're seeing one thing you don't realize, and we write this, we see the notes. This has got to be one of the smallest defensive secondaries I've ever seen. I mean, Wilkins, Glasper, Washington. I mean, these are some small defensive backs. You like to see Grambling try a couple more jump balls. I mean, neither one of these guys can be taller than 5'10".
And that stopped by Fulgham on the running back, or the quarterback, Greg Dillon. 44 freshmen and sophomores on this Grambling team. He only plays 6 seniors, and he said he was very, very surprised at how well they've done. He thought maybe they would win 8 games, and that would be a good season coming in. That is Rod Broadway. A lot of people, Jay, thought that Rod Broadway wouldn't be here this year. He was a leading candidate for that Florida A&M job.
You got to think with the job that Joe Taylor's done, everything happens for a reason. That's what I always say. It all happens for a reason. Joe Taylor doing a tremendous job down at Florida A&M, but Rod Broadway, give him credit. He always tells everybody, I told you I've got the best job in black college football. And who can argue with all the legacy that goes on down at Grambling State and the way he's got this football team winning again? I'm sorry, buddy, I'll get out your way. You see the official, but he's doing a pretty good job.
Yeah, you may get flagged for interference along the sideline as Dillon gets loose somehow.
How did he escape that?
I don't know how he escaped it, and as a player shaken up for Texas Southern, he's down. That's Antonio St. Rose at about the 44-yard line, but how he got away, look at it once again, Jay.
I mean, he's in the grass, got low. Just got low to the ground, had tremendous balance to get outside, then make the great escapability. That would be correct. And look at that. That's why you want mobile quarterbacks. And give credit to Coach Broadway. He knows when you got a line that can't protect, run. Get the first down.
20 yards on that run by the quarterback, Dillon. He has 66 yards. He is the leading rusher in the ball game right now as they look at Antonio St. Rose. We'll take a timeout. 11:14 to go. Third quarter, 6-point ball game in Houston.
1-800-320-9416.
ESPNU College Football is presented by FreeCreditReport.com. Stay on top of your credit score and credit report at FreeCreditReport.com. Along with Jay Walker, who's down on the sideline, I'm Charlie Neal, and we're in the city of Houston, Texas. And that's Jay's back.
The Bayou City. I'm in it. See, I'm calling plays. You want the signal?
Yeah.
Do that. I was talking to my official. He already gave me a sideline warning once, Charlie.
Yeah,
so I'm
we
gonna
don't want to get
way.
a 15-yard penalty on you. They may put you back in the booth.
That'll be what you really believe, a neutral zone infraction. I'm neutral.
Walker, the lone setback in the backfield. On the end around, they go to the wide receiver, Keir Thompson, and Thompson is batted around, and he fumbled the ball. But I guess Grambling, it looks like they come up with the fumble recovery. I think it's Victor Phillips who was able to fall on top of it to save the day for the Grambling Tigers. And then we have another player shaken up for Texas Southern.
On the offense, number 61, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Clipping on Reve Smith, the center. The man shaken up is David Knight,
the guy that got clipped. The guy that got clipped. You call clipping on the center, and the guy that you clip goes down. David Knight, the nose guard, and they really can't afford to not have him get in there. He's been having a whale of a football game, and what do? You kind of hit him low, and right here in the middle of your screen, big number 63 is David Knight, and wow.
Reve Smith comes in at 305, Knighton at 290. A lot of beef pounding on each other, right? And there's a flip off to the right side and trying to turn the corners. Walker make that warrant, trying to reverse himself, and he has nowhere to go.
Oh, that's a flag. Ooh, they're going to call a flag on number 73. A fight ensuing right here. If they don't throw that flag, oh, he held it. There was a fight going on in the middle of the field. The official was running in there to throw the flag, and he did not call the penalty there.
Quint Roberts, that's that freshman out of Anniston, Alabama.
I want to know what happened there, Mr. Ref. No flag? No flag? He threw that punch. That's whoa.
What did he tell you? What did he say to you, Jay?
He shook me off and said, "You stick to commentating."
I can believe it. 2nd and 17 now. Pressure on the quarterback who steps out of the pocket. Dillon has a little room down the. There's a horse collar. And that's a flag. I knew that would be a flag. That's a horse collar. You're talking about. I mean, he almost lost his neck.
Jersey. I hope we can get a look at that. You look at the back of Greg Dillon's jersey. It's ripped, but good effort. Dillon gets outside the pocket. He grabs him up high and he pulls him. He didn't use his weight, but hey, with the law, if you pull a guy down, they've got to make that call there. But he grabbed a whole bunch of jersey, and you look at the back of Greg Dillon's jersey, he didn't let go. That's not one of those old tearaway Earl Campbell jerseys that were made famous down here in Houston.
As a personal foul penalty going against that man there, number 94, defensively. That's Ashton Wilder. So it's a first down. The ball is spotted right at the 10-yard line. It'll be 1st and goal. It's torn.
At the top, big strong D lineman gets his hands on him.
Dillon, he's gone down. Good defensive play by David Knighton. He limped off a few minutes ago. He came right back in. He says, hey, you're not going to get me twice.
That's what happens. You know, you clip a guy, he goes out there and he realizes, hey, that guy's got to hit me low, so I got him. Knighton has really just been very active. He's been the key. And if you can stuff the run, starting from the inside out, meaning start from your nose guards to your centers and dominate that line of scrimmage. Look at that. One-on-one individual effort. That's just a matter of who wants it more. And right now, David Knight is telling the rest of the defense, I got my man, you get yours.
Senior out of Bradenton, Florida, from Lakewood High. Came into the game with a sack. He has one to his credit tonight. Here's a pass into the end zone. Touchdown. Touchdown to Keir Thompson, Grambling, from 18 yards out. So Dillon throws a touchdown pass. It'll be number 14 for him this year. And that is the 5th touchdown reception for Keir Thompson.
Yeah, just a post going right over the middle of the field open, one-on-one coverage. Lead them in there, nobody to defend. Touchdown, Tigers. Oh, I guess they're both Tigers. Grambling State Tigers, Charlie. Grambling State Tigers.
That was a 13-play, 64-yard drive for Grambling as they started the second half with the drive. Here's trying for the two-point conversion. Dillon, and he will not get there. So it's a 19-7 ball game as we look at the quarterback, Dillon, buying some time and finding the open Keir Thompson in the end zone, and Grambling increases its lead by 12. After trailing in this ball game 7-0, Grambling has scored 19 unanswered points, and they take a 12-point lead, 19-7, with 8:46 to go in the third quarter. And the scoring drive, 13 plays, 64 yards, 6:14 off the clock. And there you see Dillon, 62 total yards and a touchdown on that particular drive in the passing department, including the 18-yard pass to Keir Thompson. The two-point conversion, no good. And then Grambling will kick off, and Texas Southern gets the ball for the first time in the second half. A 6-minute drive for Grambling to open the second half, and they put 6 on the board. Osborne from the 10-yard line. Osborne up the gut. Osborne on his feet and still going until he's brought down just shy of the 40-yard line. So a 39-yard return, or 30-yard return, I should say, for Mr. Osborne. Let's go down on the sideline to Jay.
All right, now we know the key to any touchdown pass is going to be great protection. Let's take a look at the protection here by the offensive line for Grambling University. They do a good job of protecting their quarterback. Here's what I like to call a wall. That's a wall, and if your quarterback can have room to throw balls anywhere in this area here, that's a good pocket. Take a look at the protection. Ball snap. Does anybody get into those circles? Not at all. Beautiful job. An average quarterback looks great when he has time. It all starts with the protection of quarterbacks not worrying about getting hit.
Right now, Texas Southern quarterback wondering if he's going to get hit, and he gets rid of that ball pretty quickly before anything disastrous can happen. And that is Cornelius Harmon, senior out of Port Arthur, Texas. Went to Memorial High there. He's come on in relief of Bobby Reed, the much heralded quarterback from Oklahoma State, who came in here after losing his starting job at Oklahoma State, and he is brought down. That is Cornelius Harmon by Christian Anthony, Jr. out of Birmingham's Carver High. But there's a penalty marker down. Let's see what this one's all about.
Holding on the offense, number 77. The penalty decline, third down.
Matt Minus, a senior out of Alexandria, Virginia's DeMatha High, guilty of the hold.
DeMatha High, that is the alma mater of what current NFL and Villanova alumnus? Charlie?
Alumnus
of DeMatha High, plays in the NFL, went to Villanova.
You said alumnus of
DeMatha.
Oh, you mean the guy from that running back they got up there, where's number 36?
There you go, Brian Westbrook. See, I went to Howard. Now, alumnus is singular. Alumnus is singular.
I got you.
That's why Howard University, American Black College, academic institution, because we're not winning a lot of football games right now. But
and will not, and will not for a long time to come. In fact, we'll take a look at an alumnus of Texas Southern after this punt. Punting into the wind once again, although it's not as strong as it was in the first half. And that's a pretty good one. Good hang time. Fair catch called for and made by Kier Thompson. Grambling gets the ball back at their own 39, make it the 29. When we come back in a minute, in the meantime, it's time to open the ESPNU yearbook. And this gentleman was a two-time SWAC Defensive Player of the Year back in '91 and '92. Drafted by the Giants in the National Football League and still holds the NFL record for sacks with 22.5. And was named in 2001.
Without him smiling,
NFL Defensive Player of the Year in 2001 and was a Super Bowl champ a year ago.
So he's not smiling. I barely recognize him. You almost snuck it on me. You can say he's got the most famous smile in the NFL.
Yeah,
or
Michael Strahan, as Dillon keeps the ball and goes straight ahead. He had a pretty good career in the NFL, and he got out. You know, a lot of people thought he was going to come back after they won the Super Bowl a year ago, but he made a great decision, professional decision. He's doing pretty good now. Not doing too bad, working for Fox. 7-time Pro Bowl selection, 141 career sacks. Single season record, Defensive Player of the Year in 2001, Super Bowl ring from last year. Got that ring, and hey, I got what I needed. It's like hitting the lottery. Yeah? I don't need any more, right?
He must not need any more because he turned down a boatload of cash to go back for one season. You know, a lot of guys in the NFL, their dream job, the NFL defensive lineman's dream job is to be a third down pass rusher. But that means you only come in on third down. You don't have to worry about stopping the run. So most people, the D linemen I know, they love to just rush the passer. They just want to hit. They don't want to chase running backs. They just want to have the ability to hit the quarterbacks. And Strahan could have been a third down specialist. He said no.
Smart man. He was injury free as Warren goes forward and picks up about 9 yards on a first down run. So Frank Warren starting to get it done. 61 yards on 11 carries so far this evening.
Trying to look at big number 73 for Grambling. I mean, the more you sit here and look.
Quint Roberts, 6'6", 325.
And he's just a freshman, Charlie. He's a baby.
We haven't even seen Greg McGrew, who's 6'8", 380 or 360. Here's a quarterback, Dillon, going around the left side. Fulgham has him and will not let him turn the corner, but I think he has enough for a first down. Fulgham, number 44. There's big number 73, Quint Roberts. Coach said he's the biggest surprise on the offensive line for them so far this year.
You know, you see him out there, the right guard that's next to him. You know, he's not a small guy. You know, when you talk about number 63, but when you dwarfed by a guy that's 68, that's Quentin Roberts, who's 6'6", you know, you talk about Kier Boyd, he goes 6'4", 290, but he looks tiny.
This time they will not let Walker get loose as the defense stiffens for Texas Southern University. Peters, James Peters there, number 50, the junior out of Fort Union High, native of Baltimore, Maryland. Well, at least we're not in Green Bay where it's 20 below zero.
Hey, wind is wind. I'm down here on the wind. I might as well be in Green Bay, the wind I'm dealing with.
Ball in the air. Nice attempt by the receiver to try to go get that one. It was just not going to be a completion as Larry Donnell really made an adjustment to try to go get this ball. See him coming back inside the defender?
Yeah, I mean, great job throwing that ball. Two guys there. You know, it was one of those plays where Dillon actually thought he had a free play. He thought he had the Texas Southern defensive line offside, so the center snapped the ball to him. Nobody else rushed, so he just decided to take a chance, thinking, hey, they're going to call a penalty on them. Tried to squeeze that ball in there, and almost turned out being a completion.
Sure did. Donnell, like I said, did a good job. It's a 3rd and 14 facing Grambling right now. Pass incomplete. I think Warren tried to run a little bit quicker before he had possession of that ball. Had he been able to gather it in, he probably would have picked up the first down, but they'll wind up punting it away. And that'll bring in Mr. Desmond Spivey, the redshirt freshman from Mansfield, Louisiana. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, let's see if he's going to run with it this time.
I mean, look at this formation Grambling uses, though. I mean, we've seen this new spread punt formation, but this is spread all over the field. This looks like a kickoff.
It hit the ground. but he gets it away. He has some hang time, but it's going to be a little short, but takes a bounce, but goes into the end zone. It'll be brought out to the 20. Timeout on the field. 5:29 left third quarter. We're in Houston, Texas for this SWAC matchup. 55-yard punt. We'll be back.
On to Christmas.
With 5:29 left here in the third quarter, 19-7. Grambling on top of Texas Southern, Charlie Neal. And I'm joined here in the booth by the commissioner of the Southwestern Athletic Conference, Stuart Sharp. And it's a pleasure seeing you, first of all. But you've got a whale of a scenario could be facing you coming up in the next week or so, depending on what happens tonight in this game or in the Bayou Classic.
Right. I mean, but again, that's what we get paid for in the conference office. It's just one of those scenarios. You can't do anything about it. I think we've been proactive, and I think that's the best thing we can do is to be proactive and address it before it becomes an issue.
Are you talking about parity? Is because of what happened with Prairie View coming back and revitalizing their football program? Of course, Southern's always been a team to be reckoned with, and Grambling doing what they normally do. We see more parity coming about in the conference.
I think you do, and I think that's a great thing for the SWAC. Anytime you have 3 teams vying for a divisional title to get to the SWAC championship, I think that's really what our league is all about.
I think one of the things that could be something that of a negative for some people is that Prairie View, which cannot get to the FCS playoffs, they are in a situation where they're dependent on what happens in the Bayou Classic to find out whether, is it fair?
I won't say it's fair, but I think those are just one of the things that happen when you give up your automatic qualifier and you kind of leave yourself out there as far as the playoff is concerned. Now we have to, with them being in contention, it's just one of the things. You're part of a conference first, and then you would worry about the playoff. So for us,
but would it be fair to say the conference could be well represented by saying to Prairie View, okay, forget about the SWAC championship. You've had such a fantastic year. You've only lost 1 game. We're going to put you in a situation where you're not eligible for the SWAC championship, but eligible to go to the FCS playoffs.
I mean, I think it would be good, but I don't think our presidents, I don't think that's what they had in mind when they said, what, we're going to give up our automatic qualifier. And when you do that, you're saying we're going to take the conference first. We're going to put the conference first over the playoff, and I think that's really where we stand there.
Because the last time you sent a team to the FCS playoffs was 1996,
right,
and that was Jackson State University. That was before you instituted the championship game in the SWAC.
Right.
And I'm just saying it's a shame that you get a team that may not, everything is dependent on the Bayou Classic.
Sure.
And of course, Alabama State playing in the Turkey Day Classic.
Right.
You have 3 teams that could upset the whole apple cart for the other 7 teams in the conference.
Well, true, but I think that's just a scenario we have, and I think we'll have to go back as a group, as a conference, and look at it, as we move forward in the future.
Okay, now Jackson State's in the driver's seat. They're already in.
Right.
Now, of course, we talked earlier about the scenarios as we look at this pass down the middle that goes incomplete. And that was a 2nd down and 10 pass with 4:25 to go. But now you have a 3-way possibility,
right,
depending on what happens in the Bayou Classic. If Grambling wins out here tonight, if they lose to Southern in the Bayou Classic, now you have a 3-way tie between Prairie View, Grambling, and Southern University, and you've come up with something that's kind of crazy. We call it the 3-way coin toss.
Right.
We're going to talk about this right after this play.
Okay.
This is a 2nd down, 2nd and 10. Harmon. Here's the blitz coming in. He steps up in the pocket, lets it go. It hangs up there, and it's caught somehow. Now dropped. Now dropped in and out of the hands of the intended receiver downfield. Talk about the 3-headed coin toss and how that works. We talked about it a little bit in the first half. You can explain it even better.
Well, I think when we did our research, if you look at the 2007 NFL draft, they had a 3-way coin flip to see who would get the third pick in the first round. We had to get back to a 2-team tiebreaker as quick as possible. When you have 3 teams, the only way you can do that is have 3 teams flip simultaneously. The odd team would be eliminated. At that time, we go back to the two-team tiebreaker. It's a head-to-head competition. and then we would decide based on who won head-to-head who goes to the SWAC championship.
It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. It will. But if Grambling wins out, forget all of that.
True. True.
And you don't have to worry. And then Prairie View still sits home.
Well, I'm going to let the players decide, and we'll be ready to flip, though. Either way.
Dewar Sharp, the commissioners, Caparelli lost some yards on that completion, and that brings up a 4th down punting situation for Texas Southern. Thank you for joining us, and good luck. We'll see you at the SWAC Championship.
All right. Thank you, Charlie.
All right, Dewar. Dewar Sharp joining us here in the booth, the commissioner of the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and here's the punt by Texas Southern.
Fair catch made by number 15, Kiara Thompson.
And let's look at those SWAC storylines we were talking about with the commissioner. Of course, Jackson State 6-4, 5-1 in the SWAC. Second straight SWAC East title. They won the SWAC championship a year ago, beating Grambling in the championship game. Prairie View 9-1, 6-1 in the SWAC West. Not eligible for the FCS playoff because of what happens, as we talked about with the commissioner, the Bayou Classic, and of course Alabama State playing the Turkey Day Classic. So a lot on the line. And here's Dillon running around the right side, puts his head down and dives forward for about 7 or 8 yards.
The West has been very, very strong. We know that. You got Prairie View, you got Texas Southern, you got Prairie View, Grambling Southern, but 9-1, Prairie View not eligible. That's a little different. I mean, that's tough. It's tough for me to deny a team an opportunity to advance in the postseason because you got 3 teams in your conference that continue to play when the postseason starts. If they don't want to go, fine, but allow a team like Prairie View to go. And then we talked about that Bayou Classic, and we'll finish it after this play here.
As Dillon tries to go right side and gets his first down across midfield into Texas Southern territory. And Jay, you heard my question of the commissioner as, you know, why would you not allow a team like Texas Southern, because 3 teams.
Go send that camera down there for me. I got Frazier.
Jay?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the ones that I did have some technical difficulties while you were doing that interview, but you know, I understand that. But let's say this. We both know that the playoffs are a special opportunity, and Prairie View's had a special season. And if a team is is able to get in, then they deserve that special chance. You know, so I think you got to make special exceptions for special opportunities to make special plays.
And no question about it. And of course, that was my question to the commissioner as this screen pass goes awry, and the quarterback Dillon under pressure from David Knighton, the nose guard. Let's go down to Jay Walker talking about Prairie View, their coach Henry Frazier.
Well, Coach Frazier, Prairie View, and I like to say that Prairie View 9-1 dream season. What's it feel like?
It feels wonderful, man. It was to see everything that we worked for to come to fruition in this type of fashion, and it's remarkable. 9-1 Prairie View is pretty good.
Did you ever in your wildest dreams, because I'm going to be honest, I didn't think I would see a Prairie View team win 9 football games in a season this soon.
Well, it was the plan. It was part of the plan, and you know, we definitely planned for this success, and we're definitely pleased with it. And we thought it would be last year, but it happened to happen this year, and we'll take it.
We got the news that says, you know, because of the rules of the conference, you guys aren't eligible for postseason play. That's gotta hurt.
It's tough. It's tough. The kids work extremely hard for it, and hopefully they'll, you know, reevaluate and look at the rules again and see. You want to get a chance. When you're 9-1, if you tell any football coach that, hey, you're going to lose 1 football game, you're going to take that at the beginning of the year, and you want to get an opportunity to be able to play for something. And I think the football guys not going to let us sit home with 1 loss.
Well, you still got faith now. I got to ask you a question. Not an easy question, but you're one of the hottest coaching prospect names out there. There have been some job openings. What are you thinking? What are your thoughts on the future?
I tell you, I'm very happy at Prairie View. Prairie View has been extremely good to myself and my family. And, you know, and from a professional standpoint, you always got to look at what's out there or see what's going on. But Prairie View has been good to me. And, you know, if anything comes along, if anyone wants to talk to me, you know, we'll look at, you know, my agent and my wife and my family and assistant coaches. We'll look, see what's best for us, and we'll take it from there. But Prairie View has been very good to us.
I bought you a present. This is a coin. You may need that coin. With the flip of a coin, heads you in the postseason, tails you out.
What is that?
That's heads.
Hey, let's be in there.
Maybe good things will happen for you. Best of luck to you.
Man, I appreciate it.
Everybody's proud of you. Prairie View University. Charlie, I would agree. You and I both agree. That's the story of the 2008 Black college football season.
No question. And the postscript to that is both him and Rod Broadway are products of the CIAA. They both have come in and done a fantastic job here in the Southwestern Athletic Conference after success in the CIAA. Of course, Henry Frazier was at Bowie State, Rod Broadway at North Carolina Central. In fact, he was a two-time CIAA Coach of the Year, so the CIAA has to be proud of what these two fine coaches have done. And look at Prairie View's season. 9-1, 6-1 in the SWAC, tied highest win total since 1964, 12.8 points per game allowed, which leads the SWAC, and they scored more points than anybody per game in the conference. So, you know, as the commissioner said, well, the president's going to have to look at this, but the kids are the ones that suffer from all of this more than anything. The presidents don't have to play. And that ball is going to be intercepted. This is picked off. Grambling with its third pickoff or turnover of the day. Jeffrey Jack on the return, and now they fumble it back, and maybe Texas Southern gets it back. So we had two turnovers on the same play, and that's Osborne. There's Osborne there for Texas Southern. Junior Osborne. So two turnovers on one play.
Is my mic off?
That's the third turnover.
Am I on or off? I like the job there. You know, an interception's thrown. As a wide receiver, you have to become a defensive player, and you strip the ball. And once you do that, because keep in mind, those defensive backs aren't used to touching the football a lot. So become very aggressive. They did a good job of getting the ball back.
And now they keep it on the ground into the secondary and running with reckless abandon. And that's Caparelli, a young man out of Fairfax, Virginia, from Robinson High. And he picks up some pretty good yards on that run. $17 yards on the last carry by Caparelli. Now this one almost picked off on the far sideline. Keith Hall got his hands on it, number 44.
44, Keith Hall, 2nd and 10.
And when you look at the latest Sheridan poll, the poll for HBCUs, Tuskegee, of course, still on top. You talk about Prairie View. Here's a team that's ranked 4th behind South Carolina State, or say Tuskegee being number 1. Then you have South Carolina State, Grambling 3rd, and Prairie View 4th. Second down. Harmon will lose a few.
Cornelius Harmon brought down in the backfield.
And that's going to be the last play of the third quarter here at Del Mar Stadium in Houston, Texas. A SWAC West matchup between Texas Southern and the Grambling State University. Texas Southern hasn't been able to get any offense going. Their lone touchdown came on a muff punt. We'll be back.
3rd and 12 for the Tigers of Texas Southern.
Tonight's college football game on ESPNU is presented in high definition. Here's the score by quarters. Grambling didn't score in the first quarter. Texas Southern managed to score. But since they trail, that is Grambling 13-7-0, they've scored 19 unanswered points.
I'm glad I saw it. I thought it was just me. Texas Southern's been stuck on 7 for a long time, haven't they?
Yes, they have, and they have not generated much offense today as they try to keep the ball on the ground once again. And notice Young is there defensively for the Tigers of Grambling State University. Caparelli has been in there running in place of Marcus Wright. Remember, Marcus Wright had that fumble just before halftime that led to that 44-yard return for a touchdown by Gamble. In the second half, Grambling scored on their opening drive. Dillon, the 18-yard pass to Thompson. Now they punt it away. Here's a catch on the run and a bobble. And let's see.
I think they got it back.
They got lucky on that one because there was some dark jerseys down there ready to pounce on that loose ball. That was Keir Thompson who was there to return it. There was number 15. There he is. He gets it. bobbles it. Just got lucky. Just took the right bounce. Friday on ESPNU shoots 3 college basketball games. It's from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Puerto Rico tip-off. At 1:30 Eastern, Virginia Tech and Xavier in the semifinals. And at 5 Eastern, Chattanooga takes on number 20 USC in a consolation game. And at 7 Eastern, number 12 Memphis goes against Seton Hall in the semifinals. The O'Reilly Auto Parts Puerto Rico tip-off on ESPNU on Friday. Earlier tonight, it was Seton Hall over USC in a pretty good basketball game. They just USC just missed a basket at the buzzer on a lay-in that would have tied it up and sent it in overtime.
Is it time for the Pretty Boys to take the court again already?
They're already on the court, Jay. You're late.
Seems like not too long ago you saw Kansas chopping down the nets, and now all of a sudden the Pretty Boys are back. You know, I call the Hoop Squad the Pretty Boys.
They're back. And again, Grambling keeping the ball on the ground. One of the things that was a concern of Texas Southern coming into this ball game, especially Johnny Cole, was being able to stop the run, because they came into the game as the last team, or in dead last in the SWAC in run defense. 10th in scoring defense, pass defense, run defense, total defense.
And I think that first half showed. I mean, keep in mind, Grambling held the ball for 20 minutes in the first half, but the turnovers got to him, and that was kind of just deflated the bubble on this team.
Certainly did. Here's a pass out in the near flat for Grambling State University. And coming out of the backfield is Frank Warren with the catch. And Warren is very close to the first down. They may have to measure for this one. And again, this is the last game in Houston for Texas Southern. They close out their season in Dallas next week against Arkansas Pine Bluff. Jay?
No, if they're taking this measurement over here on the Grambling sideline, it is business as usual. I think they might have come out a little bit sluggish, but in the second half, they've come out here ready to play. And Coach Broadway and the staff have been intense. They stayed on it. You got players complain about being cold. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. Let's finish the job we've got at hand. And you can tell the intensity levels picked up over here on the Grambling sideline.
I see you have the ball in your hand.
Hey,
you thinking about going in?
You know me, Charlie.
Is Coach Broadway going to put you in?
Yeah, you know me. Well,
I know you don't have, but maybe 1/10 of a second of eligibility left.
Maybe so, but you know, I tell everybody, they ask me, can I still throw it? Throwing the football to me, man, come on. That's like riding a bike. I don't ride as good as I used to, but I ride better than most.
There's some modesty there somewhere, isn't it?
Can't be no such thing as a modest quarterback. That's an oxymoron.
Flag is down. Dillon with a nice spiral down the far sideline, but it's out of bounds. Even though it got into the hands of Van Phillips on the far sideline, he's covered pretty well downfield by Zach Logan. And let's see what the penalty marker is about. That measurement was good enough for a first down. Here's our referee, Anthony Johnson.
Offside, defense, number 63, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Dave Knighton, offsides for Texas Southern. That is only the 4th penalty against Texas Southern tonight. That's good for 25 total yards on 4 penalties. Grambling has been penalized 9 times for 84 yards tonight. So that hasn't helped their cause either. The fact that they've had a lot of penalties called against them. It is 1st and 5 for the Grambling Tigers. And now we have offensive movement, so they'll just give those 5 yards back. You know, you're talking about good quarterbacks. Grambling has had a share of good quarterbacks. Here's one right here. Doug Williams, 36-7 as a starter. 3 national black college titles, 25 SWAC titles. As a player, he won those 3 national titles in 74, 75, and 77. And as a coach, 3 national titles, 2001 and 02. Same 3 years as the SWAC champs. So he's done a pretty good job as a coach here. And there's a bounce to the outside by Frank Warren. Warren down the sideline and stays in bounds and finally brought down to the 30-yard line.
There's going to be a flag on the wide receiver, number 81 for Grambling, taking unnecessary roughness hit, but a good job there on the run and on weaving in and out by Frank Warren. And, you know, I know the old Grambling legends, they like seeing that sideline to sideline run. It reminds me of the old days when Eddie Robinson ran that old Grambling wing tee. I think they like to get a little bit more physical on the line of scrimmage.
Personal foul against the offense, number 83. 15 yards from the end of the run. First down.
It was on 81. They called on 83. But take a look at this run. This is old Grambling days. They don't want to run up the middle. They want to kind of go sideline to sideline. But when they get an opportunity to get a hole, break to the outside, move the ball to the left hand. We talk about critiquing the running back's form. I like when you get on the outside, how you switch the ball, put it in the proper hand, and make it happen.
It was a 34-yard run, and then you had the 15-yard penalty, so it's a 19-yard play. That's what it turned out to be, and still a first down. And ball will be marked on the Texas Southern side of the 50-yard line, right at about the 46, with 12:25 to go in this one. 19-7 our score. Grambling State University trying to keep their unbeaten record in the Southwestern Athletic Conference intact. Frank Warren on the carry, and in case he just joined us, it was Texas Southern getting on the board first, 7-0, as they recovered a muff punt into the end zone, and then Grambling came back to make it 7-6 on a 10-yard run by quarterback Greg Dillon. They went ahead 13-7 on Gamble's 44-yard fumble recovery that he returned for a touchdown just before halftime, and then Dillon's 18-yard pass to Keir Thompson here in the third quarter has made it a 19-7 ball game. Second down here again is Frank Warren on the carry. Let's go down to Jay.
All right, now Charlie, you knew when you put a former football player down there on the field, I'm gonna run into some old running partners, and the Grambling folks know this is one of their legendary tight ends, Pancho Glover, my former teammate with the Minnesota Vikings. Give me back my football. You come here and jack me for my football. I know, hey, you know, but Pancho was one of the ones. He played with Jake Reed, and they had that little express. And even though all that years and y'all were so great, right? Y'all played at a school called Howard University in New York, and Howard beat y'all, right? America's black college, Charlie. America's black college.
Boy, Jay, you know, Jay.
Yes, sir.
As big as you are, he makes you look small.
Thank you. See, that's why. See, Pancho, I tell them, they tell me I was a big quarterback. I was like, you got big 6'7" tight ends running down the middle of the field. And, you know, with Grambling, Pancho will tell you, know, they get physical here at Grambling. It's been good to see it. You know, I'm proud to be down there on the field with my old compadres, and I wish my stick mic worked here, but, you know, could you still give me some protection if I need it? Could you? Can you get down the middle on cover 2?
I ain't worried about no protection. Get me in the route.
Get you in the route.
Need to be on the receiving end. Need to be on the receiving end of one of those routes, one of those passes.
Spivey back to punt it for Grambling State University. A high punt, and this one will die and take a Grambling bounce, if you will, inside the 15, right at about the 14-yard line is where they'll mark it. It's a 19-7 ball game. Johnny Cole trying to solve this riddle. We'll be back.
Now.
.44 the time remaining in this one. Let's look at the game summary for tonight's contest. Grambling, of course, there's the scores by quarters. And Greg Dillon, 190 total yards, 2 touchdowns, points off turnovers. Grambling 13 and Texas Southern 7. And we talked about Greg Dillon with those 2 touchdowns. He had a 10-yard run and an 18-yard pass. First down and 10, Texas Southern at their own 15-yard line, down by 12. The pass intercepted. Gone to the end zone. Christian Anthony, touchdown. But a penalty marker is down. It was about a 10-yard return for Christian Anthony, the junior, at 6'4", 245, out of Birmingham, Alabama. He was waiting for that one.
Was it offsides? And just with a poor read, and it'll really be a bailout call if Texas Southern is fortunate enough to have this penalty called against Grambling.
It was against Texas Southern. It was against Texas Southern. So another turnover results in points. That's the 4th turnover tonight for Texas Southern. And the 3rd interception, and it results in points for Grambling.
I mean, he threw it right to him. I mean, you know, on that one, that's one of those plays we talked about in the open. The one knock on my quarterback was the fact that every now and then he would be careless with the football, and it just showed up right there.
And that extra point is good. Somehow it got through. I don't know how that one made it. It didn't look like it. But we'll look at it once again. 26-7 is our score. Look to your left of your screen. Here's Christian Anthony. He picks it up at about the 12 or 13-yard line, and he takes it to the house.
Well, as you can see, the score is 26-7 with Grambling State firmly in control. What happens when you get 2 former football players, 2 former teammates together down here on the grass and the turf? I'm going to show y'all that release. Let you know why they call me Sky. Just 2 old boys playing catch. That's what we do. Poncho was one of the best tight ends we had. Cover 2, you couldn't cover Poncho Glover with cover 2. He was too tall and he was too fast. He's just showing off for you a little bit with the camera now. But, you know, the reason why they call me Sky is because you got that release where zap, like riding a bike, Charlie. It's like riding a bike.
Yeah, but I also know it's only 10 yards between you and Poncho.
Charlie, you know how far I can throw this thing now. If anybody knows, Charlie, you know how far I can throw this thing. But look at the form. Look at the form. Nice, short, quick whip.
I have form too, 10 yards. Solomon on the return to the 25. Make that's Washington rather than Solomon. DeMarcus Washington on the return, and they mark it right at the 25-yard line. It's kind of ironic when you look at the score of this game. Grambling, only 2 of their scores or touchdowns tonight have come by way of their offense, and one was a 86-yard drive in the second quarter on Dillon's 10-yard run, and then a 64-yard drive as they took the opening drive of the second half and drove down the field 64 yards. Other than that, they get it on a gamble return of a fumble, and then Anthony return of an interception. So there's 14 points on defensive touchdowns for the Grambling Tigers. 2 on offense, but I'm sure Coach Broadway will take it any way he can. From their own 25, it is second down after a gain of 1. Let's look at Christian Anthony once again, the young man who picked it up. Well, there he is. 11-yard return. That's what they credited with for a touchdown. 5th interception return for a touchdown this year by the Grambling Tigers. Harmon throws it incomplete. Osborne, the intended receiver. And it was McCord who was covering on the play.
You know, Harmon's had a real tough day at the office, pressure all over the place, but, you know, he's one of those stories you feel good about. As a sophomore, he lost his mother. And anybody out there knows losing your mother is something that you hate to put on anybody, let alone a college student in their sophomore year. So he took a year off as a redshirt, got his head together, came back, and is going to get his degree from Texas Southern University. That's what college football is all about.
There's no question about it. It's always one of those feel-good stories. Into pressure. Harmon escapes, throws it down the sideline outside of the tackle box, so it's no penalty. Being chased by Kendall Robinson, number 91, the sophomore out of Birmingham's Parker High. So it'll bring up 4th down, punting situation once again, and this will bring in Stephen Solomon. He'll punt it away, the junior out of Houston, Texas. There are 5. You talk about this Grambling team. There are 5 players on this Grambling team that are from the city of Houston, Texas. Low snap. Dangerous right now. Solomon. And it's knocked away. And Grambling picks it up. Touchdown. Touchdown, Grambling. And that was Avery Stovall who came up with it. As you look at the face of Solomon, who just couldn't pick the ball up.
Time and time again, they've been getting away with that low snap. Well, this time the snap was a little low. Short hop. Punter couldn't field it cleanly. Unblocked Grambling Tigers special teams player comes in, puts a hit on the kicker. Touchdown, Grambling State Tigers, and they're starting to pour it on.
And again, these are defensive touchdowns. You know, Grambling has to be a little bit concerned, Jay, especially getting ready to face Southern, that they haven't been able to get a lot of offensive production or points from their offense, even though the point after is good, and it's a 33-7 ball game. But this is really not indicative. This score really doesn't tell the whole story of this ball game. It's been a defensive battle as far as Grambling is concerned, but give them credit for taking advantage of every opportunity afforded them. And we'll be back.
IBM Sundays at 11.
33-7 our score. 5 turnovers by Texas Southern, 3 interceptions, 2 fumbles, and it resulted in 4 touchdowns for the Tigers of Grambling State University. As I said earlier, and we'll talk about it a little bit, Jay, Coach Broadway, even though they're winning and winning big, they have to be a little bit concerned that their offense, even though they have 445 yards in offense, have not produced more points. They've actually only had the ball 3 possessions in the second half, as Texas Southern has had it for 5. As there's Osborne down the sideline and out of bounds in front of his own bench. Let's look at that last touchdown by Grambling. Of course, there's Solomon. He can't field the punt. He's being pressured by Jeffrey Jack. And then Stovall comes in. Picks the ball up and goes in about a yard out for the touchdown.
What I like about that, the guy that initially got there in the hurry was Jack, was a recipient of the touchdown as well. So reward the good effort. 33 unanswered points. I told you they were stuck on 7 for a while, and they're still stuck on 7. But give Grambling credit. You know, you're not always going to have your A game. And when your A game's not there, you need to have the ability to win with your B and C game.
There is a player down for the Tigers of Grambling State University. Of course, the next game for Texas Southern will be against Arkansas Pine Bluff, and they'll play that one in Dallas next week.
Number 33.
They will play that one in Dallas next week. And of course, Grambling has a date with Southern. And I'm sure the Southern faithful are sitting back watching this one tonight. That's King Beckwith, free safety reserve out of Monroe, Louisiana, who's shaking up on the sideline there. They're tending to. There he goes off on his own power. Don't forget Friday, ESPNU shoots 3 college basketball games from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Puerto Rico tip-off. Virginia Tech against Xavier, followed by Chattanooga and number 20 USC. And we'll close it out at the evening with Memphis taking on Seton Hall. The O'Reilly Auto Parts Puerto Rico tip-off on ESPNU on Friday. Caparelli into the secondary. Caparelli inside the 35, inside the 30, and slung down at about the 29-yard line. Caparelli with a good run there. Gabriel Fleming there to make the stop, along with Maxwell.
Caparelli's tough. He's a tough runner. He's a gritty kid, very small in frame, but he gives you everything that he has. He can set up his blockers, reads blocks well. He's coming here and giving a little bit of spark. If you got to look at who's been a player that's really played hard all night, Caparelli gets my vote.
26 yards on that last run, rather, as the quarterback is in trouble. Not much going on there for Harmon.
I don't know how much longer he's going to take that punishment. Harmon was very slow to get up off the turf on that one there. A couple more hits like that, and they may have to, out of a courtesy, take him out of the game because he's really taking a beating tonight.
Well, the only person they have as a backup is a converted wide receiver, Mark Ellis, out of Houston, Texas, Willow Ridge High, true freshman. And this one goes to Caparelli once again off the left side. Not much running room there as he gets down to about the 35-yard line.
I mean, this Grambling defense is really starting to beat up on Texas Southern. And that's one thing that they've done all year. If you play Grambling, it's going to be physical. They're going to beat up on you. This is a very physical football team. And, you know, I've seen them, second time I've seen them this year, and they seem to be getting stronger and stronger. And this is a defense that can just beat you down, which is showcased by their only giving up 10 points a game in conference play. Your conference teams are supposed to know you, Charlie.
Yeah. You know, it's kind of ironic you talking about the connection between Melvin Spears, who's now on the coaching staff, as we get that screen to Caparelli, and Caparelli's still on his feet and down inside the 30. He still has a lot to go for a first down. He's still going to be about 10 yards shy. But, you know, Melvin Spears, who was a former head coach at Grambling, is now on the coaching staff at Texas Southern University. The ironic part of that whole story, Jay, is he has 4 cousins, that is Coach Spears, that are members of this Grambling State University football team. The defensive tackle Melvin Matthews, Kenneth Anio, the defensive back, the offensive lineman Corey Williams, and the center Reve Smith all have played pretty significant roles in this ball game tonight for the Tigers of Grambling.
We always say in the SWAC they keep it in the family. Yeah. You know, the tradition runs, but what happens when one of your family members leaves?
Yeah. Pressure, Ayers stepping out of the pocket, out of bounds. He might have been better off running for the first down and keeping the drive alive.
Well, when you're running for your life, sometimes you kind of forget where the first down markers are, Charlie. You know, you see that, look at it. Every play he's getting touched and having to avoid the pass rush, let alone trying to focus on downfield coverage. And just not a good thing when your quarterback is forced to read offensive linemen on who's getting beat.
Well, let's look at your SWAC awards, people who we call your Jay Walker Sky High Awards.
Well, Offensive Player of the Year, I think it's Grambling. I'm not going to make any fans down there in northern Louisiana, but Brian Lee, Southern University, he's really gotten it done. It's going to be a great game down there to see how the Offensive Player of the Year, in my eyes, does against the #1 defense. Defensive Player of the Year, Zach East, Prairie View A&M, that's the story of the year. He's the captain of that defense, preseason all-conference Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year. He's getting it done. Newcomer of the Year, we didn't get a chance to see him here tonight, but Bobby Reed from Oklahoma State transferred in here to Texas Southern, had a good football season. Bobby Reed was the newcomer of the year. He carried this offense to those 4 victories they've got on this season. Now the coach of the year, and I'm going to respect what they like to do in the SWAC conference. In the SWAC conference, they like to give the winner of the division, and it seems to be Grambling.
Not division.
Or of the conference,
not
the coach of the year.
Not the conference, the championship.
The championship. They like to give them the coach of the year. Right now, Rob Broadway, very young team, to will this team to the number of victories they have and to control their own destiny this late in the season. That's been a fantastic job.
And there's Dillon running with reckless abandon around the right side. He's had a pretty good night tonight for himself. 10 of 23, 116 yards and a touchdown passing, and he also has a touchdown running.
But Broadway gets that, right? Broadway gets my coach of the year vote. But in all honesty, if you talk about national coach of the year, I think, you know, it's that Prairie View, you know. So how can you become not the coach of the year in your own conference, but possibly in consideration for the national coach of the year? That Prairie View's Henry Frazier, fantastic job there.
He's done a fantastic job turning that program around. Remember, it wasn't that long ago when we were talking about they had the nation's longest losing streak down at Prairie View, and he's turned it around as Walker is into the secondary, still on his feet, still going strong, down the sideline, and he's brought down right at the 22, 23-yard line. They'll mark it at the 22.
Finally brought down from behind by number 16, Antonio St.
Frank Walker. Look, misdirection again, gets in the hold and cuts to the right. Let's see, let's coach him up. Switch hands, switch hands. He didn't switch. See, he almost got stripped. By him not switching hands there at the end of that run, the Texas Southern defender did the right thing by trying to come up for the strip. When you get in open field, you've got to put that football on the sideline shoulder away from the defense.
Make that Cornelius Walker. He has 51 yards rushing tonight. Frank Warren, his counterpart in the backfield, has 107 yards. And you're talking about establishing the running game. That was the 17th carry for Walker. Dillon has carried the ball 18 times, and Warren has carried it 16.
Frank Warren.
No, when we talk about carrying the football, what do I mean about it? If you go to the hole this way and you're all set, the moment you make that cut to the left, the defense is in there. Imperative that you get the ball to the left shoulder, so when somebody comes from inside where you just left them, they can't strip your ball this way. Use the sideline as your friend. So you've got to switch. Same if you're going to the right. Put it on this way, away from the defense. Don't put it here where they can strip it out of play. Switch the ball. That's important.
And if they hit it out of bounds or hit it on that side, it probably will go out of bounds with no harm.
Well, Charlie, you did learn a couple things throughout the years calling all these games, huh?
One or two.
Make a football player out of you yet.
It is second down. New quarterback in. That's J.P. Tillman, who started his college career at Missouri and high school down in Houston here. Cy Falls High, right down the road, not too far. He threw for over 3,000 yards and 40 touchdowns. In fact, played the All-American Bowl in Shreveport back in '05. Had a pretty good game there. The start of his college career at Missouri, and for the season this year, he's completed 49% of his passes, averaging 65 yards per contest. He's thrown 5 touchdowns and run for 1. Hands off once again. And short of the first down marker, that was a third down play. They're down to the 20, make that the 15-yard line. Down to the 3:22 mark. 56 meeting between these two. You know, you talked about some great quarterbacks, and you talked about the, Greg Dillon and J.P. Tillman. And at the beginning, Jay, we spoke about the fact that they played musical chairs with their quarterback. Well, one of the things at the beginning of the year, they thought Brandon Landers, the quarterback from a year ago, was going to be back. He became academically ineligible, so they lost him. Last year, he passed for 2,600 yards, 23 touchdowns, and, they lost him before the season started.
Yeah, part of the reason I had to cut you off, I say that can't happen as a quarterback. As a quarterback, you cannot be declared academically ineligible. You're supposed to be a leader on and off the field, on the field, and in the classroom.
We saw that happen with Hampton, with T.J. Mitchell.
And that can't happen. And I jumped hard there on T.J. Mitchell doing that there. Herbert Bynes stepped in, did a great job. But with Brandon Landers as your quarterback, all eyes on you. You're the face of the program. You're the CEO. You've got to lead by example. Not getting it done in the classroom, that's just unacceptable at that position.
Here comes the chain king.
As they measure for the first down, 5 players on this Grambling team from the Houston area. Quarterback, the backup, Bakari Maxwell. J.P. Tillman is from Houston. We just spoke about him. Linebacker Keith Hall, Jeffrey Jack, the defensive back, and the kicker Louis Leal. They're all from the Houston area.
Charlie, these folks are breaking rules down here now. How can I be commentating the game and mascots come up to me and tell me, hey, you with ESPN? They're not supposed to talk, aren't they? I can, take their stuff from them, can I?
No, they've broken the golden rule of talking.
Look, now you're trying to leave. Don't try and leave now. You already said your name earlier. Why don't you give a shout out to your mom and everybody else, too?
Mascots can't talk. You've never heard Mickey talk, have you?
That's what I'm saying. I've never. Help me out here, fellas. Y'all help me out now. All the years growing up, I've never heard Mickey Mouse talk. How do I know what y'all sound like? Huh?
Now they're playing.
Oh, y'all educated men. Now they just hold a regular conversation with you. How you guys gonna do in the Bayou Classic? You gonna whoop their tail? Well, I'm telling you, hey, we're gonna get your name, your student ID number. Yeah, is one a boy, one a girl? What y'all got here? Okay, y'all hanging out there. All right, then. Well, good talking to you, man. Hey, it's my first time ever talking to a mascot, man. Look at that. Hey, you know what? I'll be at the Florida Classic on Saturday. I'm gonna make sure to tell Mickey and Minnie that, hey, they talk now.
Second down.
All right, now, man. I always wanted to hit one of y'all.
A minute 35 to go. Here's Walker again on the carry. Cornelius Walker, he's out of Atlanta's Mays High. Came into the game as the leading rusher on this Grambling team with just under 600 yards coming in, and with his 95 to go with the 599 he came in with today. He's creeping up on that 700-yard mark for the season. Frank Warren has already topped the 100-yard mark today, 108 yards, as you see them giving Walker a little pat on the head. In the lineup right now is Warren. out of Pleasant Grove, Alabama, Pleasant Grove High. And the pitch goes to him. He's got the 100 yards already today, and he adds a few more to the 108 before that carry.
The pitch goes to Frank Warren.
All right, now, Charlie, we know that Grambling's got their job done tonight, but what do you think is hanging over their shoulder in the shadow? Oh, does that say Jackson State? Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Who's wearing that?
Some Jackson State fan here trying to scout out the competition they believe they're going to see down in Birmingham. And as we show that on the Jumbotron, we get a boo from the Grambling State sideline. So
look at Rod Broadway. He's looking at the Jumbotron, too. He said, what is that Jackson State person? Well, this game is over. And Rod Broadway wins number 50 in his career as a head college coach. He came into tonight's game with 49 career wins between Grambling and North Carolina Central University. We say congratulations as they take a step closer to getting back to the SWAC championship game. It all depends on what they do in New Orleans on January 29th when they take on Southern University. So it's going to be very interesting. But they come out victorious tonight with 33 unanswered points after falling behind 7-0. Once again, our final score, 33-7. And coming up next, we'll send you to our Sports Center U studio with Buff Mowens, Charles R. Buckle, and Mike Mentor. For more information, log on to your home for the finest in college sports, ESPNU.com. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Jay Walker down on the sideline, Charlie Neal all alone up here in the booth saying so long from Houston, Texas.
And do you guys have anything special planned that you do in the stands to show your support for the Red Raiders?
Oh gosh, you know, to be honest, I haven't been to Norman. This will be the first time I've been, and not to mention I've never been in the stands. But I can imagine, you know, our students are rowdy wherever they go, no matter if they're home or if they're away. So I really hope that, you know, we're going to bring in the same support we do, just as if we, we're at home. So.
Thank you, Daniel, for joining us today, and good luck and have fun watching that game.
All right, I will.